And this is where MAGA comes to talk. Merry Christmas, everyone. And, oh man, a lot of great things have been given to us by our president that we're going to cover on the program today. And I will be taking calls. All right. All right, it is. Showed that my coffee's a little too hot to drink, so I'm really behind on coffee this morning, but that's okay. Here we go. I'm starting up the mainstream, so guys, remember if you want to see and hear all the audio and video, you got to go to the mainstream here on YouTube. Welcome to the Brian Craig Show podcast. Merry MAGA Christmas, everyone. This is where MAGA comes to talk, and I hope everyone's having a good Christmas. And we did Christmas last night on Christmas Eve, and my wife got me an incredible gift that will stay in my family long after I'm gone, that I'll show you guys in just a little bit. It's amazing. My wife is the best gift giver there is. Whatever the occasion, birthday, Christmas, whatever it is, my wife always knows like the perfect gift. I'm not good at that, but my wife is. And when I show you this, you're going to love it. I'll show you in just a bit. I want to, this is really our first Christmas with Trump back in office, right? We had him last Christmas, but he was president-elect. So this is his first Christmas as president in his second term. And I want to go over a lot of the things that I'm thankful for this Christmas that President Trump has given to us and our great country, and in turn, the entire world. And I'm going to go through a lot of that. If you would like to call in, I will take calls on this Christmas morning. The number is pinned in the live chat if you're watching live. And remember, the Brian Craig Show podcast is available wherever you get podcasts. Just search for the Brian Craig Show. If you want to catch the podcast live in video form where I'm taking calls, that's on YouTube. Just search Brian Craig Show on YouTube or YouTube Music. But the program is available on all podcast platforms. But I want to start with this Christmas message with the president. Then we'll start going through the stories. Mm-hmm. And that is so true. And, one thing that I've noticed this past year that has happened, and I think you guys have probably noticed this as well, but this year with President Trump back in office for his second and non-consecutive term is really a return to, in this country, there's been a big return to American values, family values, right? You see all these things that are going on, Christian values. It's all back, which shows that the country never left those values. We just had a bunch of liberal lunatics running our country, convincing us that the country was on a different path than it was. But the American people always accepted our conservative values, a Christian nation, all of that. And we're seeing that because we've returned to these values on a dime. So it's not like Trump had to convince the country that, conservative family values are the way to be. The country wanted that. And a lot of people, I think really with the Autopin administration of Joe Biden, but this was, with Biden, of course, the third term of Obama. In Obama's first two terms, we saw this begin, and then in the Autopin Biden administration, we saw this a lot in the country. A lot of people and companies, major corporations, bought into this DEI didn't earn it lunacy, right? That was going on. And they did that because they felt they had to. Because if you did not get in lockstep with these liberal loons, they would destroy your life. Look at all the people they had in the DC Gitmo as an example, right? Political prisoners. We had political prisoners in this country for the first time ever, held by the federal government in the DC Gitmo, you know, and people were scared and bought into this stuff. You didn't, I didn't, but a lot of people did, and a lot of big companies did, and celebrities. And did you guys see the president at the Kennedy Center Honors? By the way, I had a little bit of a fallback yesterday on my cold. I was almost over my cold, but it came back a little bit yesterday because I did a lot of stuff preparing the house for Christmas. So I pushed myself a little too hard yesterday, so I apologize if I'm a little out of the weather this morning or under the weather. But I watched the president at the Kennedy Center Honors. I only saw up through the Stallone stuff. I've got it recorded, so I haven't seen it past Sylvester Stallone's part yet, but I'm going to watch the rest of it today. When President Trump came out and did that opening monologue, it was amazing. And did any of you watch this? He was so natural, and that whole segment with the great Sylvester Stallone brought a tear to my eye. Where you guys, did you have tears in your eyes? Frank Stallone came out and talked about his brother and everything. And other celebrities came up and talked about Stallone, and the president did such a great job. And I was thinking, this is how the Academy Awards should be. You know, the Academy Awards are in such big trouble, right? They're fading away. There's not even really celebrities anymore like there used to be with the movie and TV stars. You know, I saw an interview with Maya Hawke, Ethan Hawke and Uma Thurman's daughter that's in Stranger Things. And they were talking, this interviewer was asking her about what's it like for her to be a celebrity now, since she grew up with her parents being a celebrity. And she was talking about how there's really not celebrity anymore, like there was in the 90s and before with my parents. And that's so true. But Donald Trump, if I were the Academy Awards people that are desperate to save that show, you know, it's going to YouTube, what, in 29 or something? The TV's canceling the Academy Awards. If the people behind the Academy Awards want to save the Oscars, whoever produced the Kennedy Center Honors with President Trump, you want to hire them to do the Academy Awards this year and next year and every year moving forward. And you might want to ask President Trump to host. When President Trump came out, that was just amazing the way he did it. Did you guys see it? I was so blown away by it. And then he took a jab at Stallone. And I wonder, there's, you know, when President Trump, he takes a jab, then he'll compliment that's a normal thing that he does. But he took a pretty hard jab at Stallone, and I wonder what the reference was. Did you see this? He said a while ago, if I would have called Sly, he said, Sly and I have been friends for many, many years. If I would have called Sly a little while ago and asked him for a favor, he probably wouldn't have done it. But now he probably would. And I was wondering, what happened? What did Stallone do in the past that Trump was referencing, right? Yeah, and I do remember, you know, Stallone is President Trump's neighbor. He lives not far from Mar-a-Lago in Palm Beach. But when Clinton was president, he lived in Miami. And I remember he did a big event, Stallone, at his house in Miami with President Clinton. And I remember seeing it on television. And he gave President Clinton a set of his gloves from the first Rocky movie. So I don't know what President Trump was talking about there, but you know what? Stallone knew. But it doesn't matter. He honored him. He gave him the medal and the honor, and it was a great tribute. I'm looking forward to seeing the rest of the thing. But it was such a great event, and President Trump was so natural with the Kennedy Center Honors that I hope that becomes a tradition every year with President Trump and all the presidents moving forward actually hosting the Kennedy Center Honors. I thought it was super cool. And if the Oscars brought in whoever produced the Kennedy Center Honors this year to do the Oscars would be a hit. They just, the way they did it was just absolutely amazing. But I'm going to watch the whole thing. I only watched but it was a pretty long segment with Stallone. But anyway, let me get back to it. So, I want to go over some of the things that are going on in the country that I'm thankful for. I know you are, that Trump has brought us. And one of the things that he's done is expose so much Democrat government fraud and thievery that's going on. And we've seen what's been going on in Minnesota with the Somali community and Tim Walz and all. And Newsmax had a great story. It's exposing, listen to this. This is Gavin Newsom corruption in California. Listen to this. Wow. 32 billion. This is insane. Yeah. This is crazy. You got to wonder. By the way, yes, we are live on this Christmas morning. Welcome everyone. Merry, 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 Merry Christmas. If you're just joining, um, you got to wonder. These tax and spend liberals. How much of government spending is legit and how much of it is fraud? Wouldn't you like to know? I don't know if it's possible to put a number on it, but President Trump's goal is to eliminate income tax, except for very, very rich people, and to fund the entire government on the import taxes, on the tariffs. And here in Florida, there's a big move to end property taxes on your home. And even in Florida, Governor DeSantis is talking about removing all tolls from toll roads for residents of Florida. And in the past, when Republicans were talking about cutting taxes out, liberals, these tax and spend liberals will say, no, you can't. How are you going to run the government? How can you run the government on tariffs? How can you fund everything without paying for the toll roads and all the tolls on the toll roads? And the list goes on. Well, these little Doge, well, little, they're big because the 32 billion just on one thing there in California. These Doge operations, right, that are going on all over the country that we just heard about from the auditor in California. We have a Doge here in Florida that's going through the county by county. What we've seen with the Somali community in Tim Walz's Minnesota, there's trillions of dollars, it seems to me, at the local and federal level that is just corruption. And whatever the government budget is, it could easily operate probably on a third of that. My estimate would be about at least 2/3 of government spending is waste and fraud. Waste and fraud. And it's thievery. And one of the things that President Trump has given us in this first year of his second term is not just an awareness of this, because we were all aware that the government was corrupt and there was so much financial corruption going on, but we turned a blind eye to it, even though we knew about it, because we didn't think anything could be done about it, right? And since nothing could be done about it, we just kind of ignored it because, you worry about things that you can make changes with, not things you can't change, right? But with President Trump, it's not just awareness, and we're uncovering a lot more of it than in specific details, like the story I just shared. Now, the American people are fed up and want it stopped. We see that the government is running a surplus now with the tariffs. And we have people, even at the state level in California, in a liberal lunatic state like that, who are saying enough and are clamping down on it. So it's not just that we know about it, we're learning about it in specific details of where the thievery is going on by corrupt public officials like Gavin Newsom and Tim Walz and others. But now we have a federal government that's going to do something about it. And the people of this country aren't going to tolerate this anymore. The American people have let these government officials steal the tax revenue and be corrupt because we didn't think there was anything we could do about it. And with the MAGA movement, there is. And that's an amazing thing that's happened this year. And one of the most important things that President Trump has done, because this is the kind of thing that will change everything going forward in this country forever, for the entire future for the next 250 years. And that's a good thing. Now, we are live. It's Christmas morning. Merry Christmas to everybody. If you'd like to call in, you're welcome to do so. The number's pinned in the live chat if you're watching live on YouTube. The number's toll-free, 888-465-2631. 888-465-2631. It's a toll-free call no matter where you're listening. So you hear, I get a lot of calls, and you hear people on television and stuff from liberals, but I get a lot of calls from people who call and say, well, you say prices are going down, Brian, but they're not where I'm at. And you see, where are they calling me from, right? I had a guy yesterday, you say the prices are going down, I don't see it. And I said, well, where are you calling me from? He says, Hawaii. Oh, blue state. I got another call yesterday from the same guy. You say the gas prices are lower, not here. Where are you? I'm in Chicago. Well, you're in a blue state. And the list goes on. I got another call yesterday from another guy. 3 of these calls yesterday on yesterday's show. And the prices aren't going down where I live, Brian. You're lying. Well, where are you? New York. I'm in Florida. And if you're in a red state, prices are going down. Inflation's down. And these liberals in blue states aren't experiencing it because they have these corrupt Democrats. And Scott Bessent, our openly gay Treasury Secretary, listen, this is from Fox News. Okay, yeah. No, it's Brian. You got the name wrong there. This is absolutely phenomenal what you're seeing here. So those of you that are in blue states, don't you see what's going on? Your local officials in your state are doing everything they can do to keep inflation growing and prices higher because they don't want economic relief felt by you because they hate Trump. And they know if you see it and you feel a reduction in inflation and your prices go down, you may be red pilled. So the Democrats are keeping inflation going higher in your states and keeping the cost up. I mean, look at the energy growth. There's basically no energy growth in the prices in red states. I went out to Starbucks this morning. Every gas station well under $3. It's amazing, right? It really is. But I'm in a red state, a Republican state. You guys in blue states, don't blame Trump. Blame your local officials. Now, my wife got me. My wife is the best Christmas gift shopper, and any gift, birthday, whatever it is. My wife always gives you the perfect gift, something you want, and it's perfect. And my wife got me a bunch of stuff. We had our Christmas last night. She got me some really good stuff. She got me one thing that I will have for the rest of my life that I'll be passing down to my grandchildren if I ever have any. And I'm going to show it to you after the break, all right? It's the Brian Craig Show podcast. My name is Brian. We'll take a quick break and be right back. All right. All right, we're back. I hit the wrong button. My name is Brian Craig. This is the Brian Craig Show, where MAGA comes to talk. Merry MAGA Christmas, everyone. All right, before I get back to the news, I got to show you this. And my wife got me some really good Christmas gifts. We did Christmas on Christmas Eve. This was our daughter's first Christmas back here from California in like 3 years. And so we had the grandparents over. We did Christmas. We had a great time. My wife, every gift my wife got me was the perfect gift, and she really did a good. She has a good job every year, but she got me this one gift that I am so excited about, and you're gonna see this gift pretty much every day on the live stream moving forward, and this is amazing. She got me a Trump watch. The ones that you hear President Trump do the commercials for. And this watch is absolutely amazing. Tomorrow, I'm going to go to the mall and go to a jeweler. I got to get a couple of the links taken out of the band, so it fits perfectly. But, remember you hear President Trump in the commercial with the Trump watch? People will know what it means and what it stands for. And this is like so amazing. It comes in different colors, and she, of course, got it in MAGA red. It says Trump on the inside and has his signature on the bottom of it, and it is super cool. And then on the back of it, I'm not sure how well you'll be able to see this because the band covers it a little bit, is it's a engraving of President Trump, and it says Victory 45-47, and it's a great image of the president. I'm not sure how well you can see it because it's behind the band. It's on the back face of the watch, and I am going to wear this you guys are going to see this all the time, and it is so super cool. I'm so excited. It's just a little too big, so I got to take it in tomorrow at the mall to a jeweler, have them take out a couple links, and so it fits perfectly. And she's, I have an Apple Watch, which I never wear, and this is just super cool. And the box it comes in, I'm going to keep this forever too. But and this is officially from the president, and the box it comes in, this is a keepsake as well. And who would have thought somebody could get this is how amazing President Trump is. He can get people to stop wearing Apple Watch. These are incredible. This is an heirloom watch, and the box is high quality too that it came in. And she got me a bunch of other great stuff too, but this is just amazing. The Trump watch, I'm so excited to have it. It's really amazing. Yeah, I know. Do any of you guys have a Trump watch? I will wear this for the rest of my life, and it's a family heirloom, along with my autographed by Donald Trump MAGA hat. But this is great. And, I would rather have this than a Rolex, right? I really would. Wouldn't you? I'd rather have this than a Rolex. I wouldn't mind having the money that a Rolex costs, but I could buy some gold or silver with that, But it's a great one. It's just a little too big, so I got to get it adjusted tomorrow. If the mall was open, I would go and do it today and get it adjusted because or maybe I don't know. Should I wear it loose? No, it's a little too loose. I got to get a band taken out of it. I know I could take it out myself, but then I might mess it up and all the links will fall out. So I'm gonna take it and get it done. All right, now take some calls. If you want to call in, the number is pinned in the live chat, 888-465-2631. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, Brian. My name is Noelle. I just wanted to call and wish you a very Merry Christmas, and God bless you and your family. We love Jesus here at our family.
Is your name really Noelle?
Yes,
Oh, my goodness. My first call on Christmas is from Noelle. Oh, that's amazing. That's never happened before.
Yes, I love you. I love your show. I watch you every single morning, like religiously.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. Well, thanks so
You're
much. All
welcome.
right. Well, Merry MAGA Christmas.
You're
Take
welcome.
care. All right. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Montana Mark.
Hey, Mark. How you been?
Good. Just wishing you and Kathy a Merry Christmas and Happy New Year.
Well, thank
But,
you.
You know, the other day you were talking to that guy that just couldn't say Merry Christmas.
Yes.
You know, that is some strange people.
And by the way, he's celebrating Christmas, but he wouldn't say Merry Christmas.
And, you know, I remember a while back where you talked about some of the food prices are going to go down and there's going to be some of the food that didn't go down.
Yeah.
But yesterday I bought a dozen eggs for $2.09 compared to $6.50.
Wow. That's amazing.
And you know, President Trump brought that up a little bit in some of his press releases, and he talked about a lot of the companies don't want to lower prices.
Well, you know, listen, when you're in business, you want to sell your product for as much as you can. And what determines the price of goods is what the market is willing to spend on them.
And you brought that up like some years ago where oil companies like Democrats because they make more money. But
not only that, oil companies and gun manufacturers, they love the Democrats more than Republicans because the price of guns and ammo and gas is always higher with Democrats in office. Yeah.
And you know, for me, in my situation, I buy food at Albertsons.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been researching on the internet trying to find out if there's some food companies that hate Trump, because if they lose money, they're not going to be happy with Trump.
Well,
But
you know, when it comes to
anyway,
food prices, listen, everyone's different. So in my house, it's just me and my wife, right? Because our daughter's grown up, and we're not big eaters, you know? And we really only eat, and this is just us, I mean, we just really eat one meal a day. A little tiny thing I'll eat, you know, and it's usually lunch. We'll have because I get off the air in the mornings, and then about 10 or 11, we'll have lunch. And that's really our only meal of the day. We'll have a little something in the afternoon, but not that much, you know? And so the food prices don't, and I don't want to sound like snooty because I know people, but I don't worry about the food prices so much personally because I just don't eat that much. And my wife doesn't eat that much, and we just don't, our food budget is, you know, and, you know, it's just, you know, but your money can go so far, you know, like,
yeah.
a lot of people are just spoiled and entitled. They're big eaters and they want everything for free. And like my daughter, she shops at 2 or 3 grocery stores every week because she can get stuff she goes to Aldi to buy some things. She goes to another store to buy some other things. Publix, which is the big grocery chain in Florida, she never goes to Publix because it's too expensive. You know what I mean? And
you know,
and that's how people used to be that had families. You know, when I was in high school, I was a bag boy and stockman at Publix, right? And at Publix, even still today, even though they don't, you know, they have lazy kids doing it, as a bagger, you take the groceries to people's cars for them. It's part of the service. Right? You take the groceries and you bag the groceries and you take them to the car. And when I was a bag boy in like 10th grade in high school, it was so common for me. I never, you know, it was great. I would go to someone's car with their groceries. They'd pop the trunk and they would have groceries from another grocery store. And they would tell me, well, I buy my meats at Winn-Dixie because it's cheaper than here. Right? You know, you understand what I mean? So I don't understand why people are I think people are too entitled today when it comes to prices.
And you have to do footwork and shop for the deals, because it doesn't always come to you, so you have to go looking for it.
And the coupons. Remember people used to get the Sunday paper and do the coupon clippings? I guess coupons have kind of gone out of fashion. But
they used to have those green stamps.
Yeah, I remember S&H green stamps. Yeah.
I'm thankful that the eggs come down, because I like to boil eggs, and sometimes I don't get a meal, so I'll just have a couple boiled eggs and go. So
sometimes
anyway,
I don't know. When my daughter was living with us and was young, you go out of your way to make the 3 square. But when you're an adult living alone, like I'll tell you, the other night, my wife and I, we had lunch. I don't remember what we had for lunch, and then it was like later in the afternoon. I just finished the podcast, and I said, and I'm hungry. I said, what do we have? She's like, oh, what about some ravioli? I said, yeah, ravioli. I'll have some, Chef Boyardee ravioli. So, that's fine. And how much is that a can? I don't know, where people's minds are with entitlement on prices. And I'll tell you, because my wife's disabled, she can't go out physically to the grocery store. So we do everything on, home delivery. And, so my wife does shop at different stores for different things. For example, for things like soda, because we like Coke, I like Pepsi and Coke. My wife likes Coke, We'll have it delivered from Walmart. It's like a fraction of the price from the regular grocery store. You know what I mean? So you just, come on.
Yeah.
You gotta bargain shop.
And life isn't perfect, but you still get what you need.
And maybe you're eating too much.
My dad was a Filipino immigrant, and he got to America through the Hawaiian island process, but in his lifetime, he didn't eat all the time. So, my dad taught me some people don't have any food.
That's right.
So,
Yeah.
But anyway, you have a happy new year.
Exactly. All right. Take care. Good to hear from you, Montana Mark. If you remember how many times have you heard the Democrats? This was a big thing during Obama's first 2 terms. The obesity crisis. People are eating too much. Yeah. They're eating too much. And another thing my daughter does is she cooks, so she buys stuff that's not cooked. That's a lot cheaper. There's a lot of entitlement from people today. But there's one thing I want to mention. You guys have heard me talk a lot this week about the passing of Adam the Woo, and this is just, I don't really get moved by celebrity deaths too often, but Adam the Woo has really touched me. But those of you that are Adam the Woo fans, his father, and I did tweet this so you can read the whole thing. His father put up a very long post on Facebook, just loving all, just love. His father is a retired preacher. So it was just a post of love to all of Adam the Woo's fans. And his father said they're going to have a public memorial service that they're going to announce soon. And it'll be here in Florida. It'll be up in the St. Cloud area. I hope I can go. If it's at a time I can go, I'm going to go. There's going to be so many people out there, though. People will be camping out the day before. So if I go, I don't know if I'll go in. I was actually Adam the Woo's death has hit people so hard, including myself, and people have been going to his home and leaving flowers and things, and the front of his home is becoming kind of like a shrine. It's almost like when Princess Diana died and they had all the flowers and everything in front of Buckingham Palace. His home is becoming a memorial. There's people have put sidewalk chalk there, and people are writing messages on the sidewalk in front of his house. and he wasn't married, he didn't have kids, he lived alone. He had a beautiful home in Celebration, Florida. My wife and I were talking, maybe we should retire to Celebration, Florida. We've always kind of been interested in Celebration, Florida. It's a very nice town. But, and I was thinking about this weekend just driving up to Adam the Woo's house and just saying my goodbyes in front of his house. Because people are starting to do that. You can see some of the videos online. And then I saw that his father said they're going to have a public celebration of life memorial service that everyone's welcome to attend. But I don't know if I'll be able. It depends on when it is. If I'll be able to go, I want to go, and then if I go, I don't even know if I'd get in because it's going to be in this Adam the Woo's memorial. I may be the largest memorial service ever in the state of Florida. And I know a lot of you don't know who he was, because it's different than what I do here. But I know some of you do. And if you type Adam the Woo in on YouTube, not now when you're done watching me, you'll see. I mean, it's how many people's lives have been changed and touched and inspired by this guy. And he was such an amazing person. And I hope I can go to the memorial. I really do. They haven't announced it yet. They said it'll be soon. I'm assuming it'll be after the first of the year. But it's going to be. There are going to be so many people that attend that. It's going to be insane how many people attend that. I just was looking because I wasn't sure if on the radio today, because it's Christmas, but it's Thursday, and the radio station's on the air, and they're doing what they've done the last couple of years. They're playing Christmas music on the radio right now, not a best of, which is good. So you get the best of here with me live today, right? But they're doing a best of on the radio right now, which is very good. All right, so anyway, talking about some of the things that I'm thankful for with President Trump this year, and the deportations is a big one, and there's so many net benefits to that. There's so many fewer crime victims, so fewer rapes and murders, burglaries, car accidents, car deaths. It's all positive. The deportations are taking a strain off our public system. And then look at this, President Trump, this is in Reuters, Trump set to expand immigration crackdown in 2026. Despite brewing backlash, I don't know where's the backlash coming from. I don't think there's much backlash to it. Do you guys? I don't think so. I think it's a pretty popular thing. It says here, President Trump is preparing for a more aggressive immigration crackdown in 2026 with billions of dollars in new funding, including raiding more workplaces, even as backlash builds ahead of next year's midterm elections. You know what I wonder? There's been all these deportations, very high-profile deportations from Home Depot around the country. In fact, the fake Maryland man, they got him at Home Depot. And Chuck in the chat said, I'll regret not going to the memorial service. Yeah, I will. Yeah. I'll probably have to take a day off work to do it, because if it's during the week. If it's on the weekend, I hope they do it on a Saturday or a Sunday, the Adam the Woo Memorial. I really do, because I do want to go. Even if I don't get in, I want to talk a little bit more about that with something about Adam the Woo in a few minutes. But let me finish on this first. I don't lose my train of thought. With all these high-profile crackdowns by ICE at Home Depots, I wonder how it's affected businesses at other hardware stores. I know Home Depot's they call it a DIY store. We used to call them hardware stores when I was a kid. When Home Depot first opened, it wasn't a DIY store. I didn't even know DIY is a new thing. They were hardware stores. But I wonder if Lowe's and Ace Hardware have seen an increase in business because the illegals are going to Lowe's and Ace Hardware. And if Sears was still around, which had a big hardware department, people would probably be going there too. But I bet you. So is the expansion of immigration crackdowns mean they're going to start hitting the Lowe's and Ace Hardwares and stuff like that? in these raids at the Home Depots on illegals, it's not just that it's the right thing to do. One thing about the workers, they call them day laborers and everything else. These guys are skilled laborers. They're not hiring them just to, dig ditches and move lumber around. And they go to Home Depot. These illegals have skills: carpenters, electricians, plumbers. The list goes on. Whatever you need at a construction site, and they can get the labor at a very low price compared to hiring an American. So the whole construction business is booming. And I've talked a lot about how with the crackdown on the illegal truck drivers, how we haven't seen advertisements for years about truck driving schools. And but in general, in vocational schools, I really haven't heard much about vocational schools in the last 15 years, right? And people would go to vocational schools to learn all kinds of skills: air conditioning, repair and installation, all the different carpentry, construction jobs, all these vocational jobs. Americans aren't going into them like they used to because there's no job for you. Truck driving and all these other vocational jobs, because the illegals have been taking them. And that's just wrong. And that's a big correction going on in the country right now. And you know what? That's a good thing. Yeah. I mean, how could you be against that? And vocational jobs, those types of jobs that we're talking about used to be good paying jobs. Not so much because of the illegals, but that's going to change. And the Democrats have always portrayed illegals as doing jobs Americans don't want to do. I don't think there's any job an American is not ready to do. I mean, a lot of people do jobs that they don't want to do. I'm lucky that I have a great career. And the other night, my wife and I watched a movie that kind of a forgotten movie with Christian Slater called Pump Up the Volume. It's from 1990. And Christian Slater plays this radio pirate who does a radio talk show. He's a high school kid from his bedroom, or I think it was from his basement. I haven't watched this movie in years. And that movie is what inspired me to get into broadcasting, because I wanted to be like Christian Slater and pump up the volume, and made the dream come true. And I'm doing it right now on Christmas morning with you fine people. But and this is what I do, and this has been my career my entire adult life. But a lot of times, I've had for a big part of my life, even while I've been married, I've had second jobs on the side, on top of my radio job in years past. I don't now. But when I first started in radio, I still worked at Publix for 6 months. I quit after 6 months. But I had other jobs. I used to many years ago. I used to sell cars. While I was on the radio. And I've had other side jobs too, over the years. Okay, and most of them I really didn't like any of them. Okay. So you got to do what you got to do. And the jobs that illegals are taking, a lot of them are jobs that Americans want to do and don't have available to them: truck driving, construction jobs, some of the vocational jobs. But there's a lot of jobs. A job's a job. And how many of you have had a job in your life or have one now that you hate? A lot of people do. Even when I first started in radio, I wasn't on the air. I wanted to be on the air like Christian Slater and pump up the volume. But I didn't get on the air right away. I was a board op for a long time. And then I got on the air, but I still had the board op. And I used to board op because, you're always trying to get your foot in the door. And I knew, because I was a radio listener as well. And I did go to broadcasting school, which was a vocational school. And I had, and people told me that worked in the business, get whatever job you can get at a radio station. Eventually, you'll get on the air, and that's what happened. I was a board op at, I was an overnight board op, not getting paid, board opping from 2 a.m. to 6 a.m. And there was a board op that came in the morning, and he was a party guy and everything, and he was always late, and sometimes he would miss his whole shift, so they hired me full time, and then eventually I got on the air. But I was a board op at a station in Miami, WKAT, and back in the 70s, Larry King did his show there in Miami and went national from this station. But that was not when I was there. It was a Caribbean radio station. I board opped for a show that was in Creole. I couldn't even understand what they were saying. It was in Creole, and I was running like Mike the board ops for me at the radio station. You think I like sitting there, listening to people speaking in a language I couldn't speak, running the board? I wanted to be on the air, not in the station. The radio station was in the lobby of a condo building in Miami Beach. I can't remember exactly where because it's been so long. But we've all had, I talked about Publix. When I was a bag boy and a stockman at Publix, and sometimes I'd be a cashier, that job sucked. I had to bag groceries and go out in the Florida hot sun in the summer. And back then, they had a dress code. You had to wear slacks and dress shoes, no black tennis shoes. You had to wear dress shoes, slacks, a dress shirt, and a tie. You had to wear a necktie. And I'm out in over 100-degree weather all day taking people's groceries. It sucked. And I can remember I worked a 14-hour day once when I was a stockman at Publix. And I remember my feet hurting so bad that every time I took a step, it felt like I was walking on a floor made of nails, right? And I'm like, this just sucks. My feet, I said, how am I going to do this for the rest of my life? And I'm like, I'm 18, 17, however old I was at the time. How am I going to do this for the rest of my life? And then I started, I went to broadcasting school and started board opping and got on the radio. So I've been very lucky and I've worked very hard and I'm very blessed. But even while I didn't talk about it at the time because I didn't want people to know where I worked, but I had other jobs all the time when I was on the radio. And sometimes listeners would come in and say, aren't you Brian Craig trying to sell me a car? It's like, yeah, I'm Brian Craig. But, you got to do what you got to do. And you can't always have the job that you love. You got to have the job that you can get so you can support yourself and your family. So these illegals, they might be taking jobs that you don't want to do, but they're taking a job that somebody wants to have so that they can support themselves and feed their families. But they can't because it's hard to get construction jobs now or truck driving jobs now because these illegals are taking all of them. Or working in the service industry. Nothing wrong with working in the service industry, cleaning homes, mowing lawns, working in hotels and restaurants. These liberals have these snobby ideas. A job's a job. A job's a job. These liberals got all these snooty ideas going on. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Good morning. Happy holidays. Brian, I love your monologue this morning. I'm George, the major, the Air Force major. I have something interesting because you and the president were talking a couple of days ago about Greenland. And I was a ski pilot for 2 years on top of the Greenland ice cap. It was so interesting. Mm-hmm. And it's a great honor that I was able to do that. I flew in steel I-beams.
Well, hold on. Let me. I got to answer these other lines. So let me just put you on hold for a second. Yeah. Okay. Go ahead. So you were stationed in Greenland.
Okay. We had steel I-beams, 30 feet long and 30,000 pounds. We had a max load on C-130s, So we take off from the sea level, from the air base in Greenland. Sandestrom is what it's called. And we would take off and then fly up to get on the ice cap, which was 12,000 feet. So we'd land on
I hate to keep interrupting, but the phones are blowing up, and I'm just answering. Okay, so go ahead. So how high were you?
Okay, so just 12,000 feet is the height of the Greenland ice cap. So we would pick up our landing gear and drop our skis and land on the on the ice cap at 12,000 foot altitude using an oxygen mask. And we helped build all these radar sites on top of the world, and that's why, because of the curvature of the Earth, President Trump wants more coverage for security, and that's why we need, to get Greenland.
Well, here's the thing with Greenland. Everything you said is correct. Greenland is a colony of Denmark.
Yeah.
Greenland is rich in minerals, which the president says we don't want or need any of them. We got our own. And they have an indigenous people that are Inuit Indians, which are Eskimos. Mm-hmm. And there's about 100,000 of them, and they're being ripped off. And, I talk a lot about, here in Florida, I use this example. The Seminole Indian tribe of Florida that are not indigenous to Florida are rich. They own, the Seminole Indian tribe of Florida own the Hard Rock, the brand Hard Rock. They own it.
Yeah, those casinos.
They own. They're not just the casinos. They own Hard Rock, the name. So anywhere you go in the world and there's a Hard Rock, that's the Seminole Indian tribe of Florida. All right. Okay. And every member of the tribe gets paid. I don't know how much it is now. They get paid many thousands of dollars every month. And by the way, if they live on the reservation, they don't have to pay income taxes. They're rich. Yeah. And because they let me finish my point. We'll get to Greenland because I want to hear your thoughts.
Okay.
And what they get profit sharing from not just the casinos and the smoke shops, but from everything the Seminole tribe owns, like the Hard Rock brand worldwide. Okay. What President Trump is going to offer to the indigenous people of Greenland is this: you become part of the United States. You each one of you every month, every year, however they do it, is going to get a big check for the profit sharing from the resources and minerals of Greenland that Denmark is stealing. And the deal that they have with Denmark, they can leave Denmark with a vote at any time. There's only about 100,000 natives. Okay. And a lot of them are children. So we only need to get about 30,000 Greenlanders to vote in favor of becoming part of the United States. And that's like there's that many guys in line in the men's room at a Trump rally. It's a great opportunity.
One other thing I never told you before, but I flew around. I flew 9 atomic bombs all over the country and also all over the Far East in Europe. We carried 9 Mark 28s. It's just for you and your listeners. Please make a note. It's MARK 28. You can pull it up on Google and you see the Fat Boy. That's what they call that atomic bomb.
Yeah.
And I flew them all over the country and all over the world.
Oh my goodness! You mean so you like over the United States? You had a real nuclear weapon in your aircraft?
I had 9 atomic bombs on board.
Oh my goodness!
That's all of it. Yeah, that's what would fit. Mark 28. So look it up, everybody.
I'll look it up.
And it's quite interesting. And you can still see that they're in inventory yet. So you can look at it on Google today. Mark 28.
Oh my goodness! Well, thankfully you never had to drop them.
Yeah. Well, we had to follow the fighters.
Did you do those? Did you do like that training like we see like in the movie Failsafe? Were you like one of those guys, like those fail-safe planes that would have like a zone that you would, on an alert, would fly to in case you had to use your bombs?
Yes. Also, another thing is all Air Force pilots and flight crews had to go through 5 survival schools. It's just normal training. Matter of fact, on the ice cap, I slept on the ice cap 2 or 3 nights. We built an igloo, and boy, am I terrified of polar bears. Oh,
I bet.
God,
They're horrible.
I bet.
And
hey,
one
well, listen,
swipe, it could take your head right off.
listen, well, that's pretty cool. All right, well, hey, listen, thanks for the call and Merry Christmas.
Yeah. I had a lot of good stories another day. Thank
All
you.
right, take care. Yeah, you never know who you're going to meet, Isn't that pretty cool? So, like one of the fail-safe plane guys. All right, let's go. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, Brian, my name's John. I'm calling from Boca Raton.
Hey, John.
I want to wish you a Merry Christmas, Brian. I want to thank you for your podcast, and special thanks to Mike Lindell for sponsoring the extra content. If ever anybody needed extra contact to cover a president for this year, it was you. I don't think we could go days or weekends without hearing updates on what's going on from the White House, and you've done a yeoman's job.
Well, thank you.
Extending that. And he made my life easier when it comes to Christmas, because between my mother and my nieces and nephews, between my pillows, the body pillows, the bath towels, right now served a major purpose. So thanks for hopefully the next governor of Minnesota and Mike Lindell. I debt of gratitude to him. I wanted to call you yesterday, Brian, because yesterday would have made 15 years to the day of the passing of Neil Rogers.
Oh, my
right
goodness.
There, one of the South Florida. And I can't believe it's been that long. And again, greats last.
I was a witness on his will. And
really,
and it was getting kind of sketchy because I didn't talk about it at the time because there was a dispute, and one of the people making the dispute was his longtime attorney agent. He's passed away. He was Norm Kent was his name, who was on the radio too.
Right.
And he was a nasty, vindictive person, Norm Kent, and an
really?
attorney. So but there was Neil Rogers is a radio legend in Miami. Okay, he's one of the most famous people ever to be on the radio in Miami, and I was lucky to know him. And he was gay, and he came out of the closet in the 70s. And which is crazy. It wasn't cool to be gay then, and he came out of the closet when it was very risky to do it, not when it was like in vogue, And his audience were mostly young straight guys, like me, but when he had moved to Toronto and was doing his radio show from Canada for many years in Miami, and when he died. He was in the hospital here right before he died, and Steve Kane went and visited him every day. And I had, that week or two, I had a really bad cold like I have now, and I didn't go because I was afraid I'd give him pneumonia and kill him. And Steve's like, he's going to die anyway, Brian. I'm like, nah, I don't want to go. If he got pneumonia and died, I'd feel good. But anyway, he had some boyfriend boy toy from Toronto, and he had conflicting wills. So, so there was a fight between his boy toy boyfriend in Toronto and his lawyer, Norm Kent, down here in Florida, because Norm Kent, for some reason, thought he was supposed to be inheriting things from Neil. And I thought I was going to end up in like probate court with these two gay guys fighting out over Neil Rogers' will, but luckily it didn't come to that.
Okay. Hopefully it all kind of worked.
Do you know what his real name was?
Legends.
Do you know what his real name was?
I think it was Behana, Nelson.
I want to
Behana
say Nelson
Bellfeder.
Nelson Bell Heifer, something like that. Nelson.
Yeah,
something like that. Yeah. Neil Rogers.
No, just great. And if I could, because I never get a chance to see somebody, I can't think of a better day. Another person, Richie the bus driver. Let me tell you something. He's a great guy. I met this man 27 years ago. One time we would call the National Sports Talk Radio overnight show and everything. And you could say what you want about Richie and everything. A very entertaining guy. And if you ever met him, he's a great guy in person. Definitely worth the conversation, worth the price of admission. You were on the vote with him right now. You definitely could.
I don't know why people think I don't like Richie. Do you think I don't like Richie?
No, I think you do. Absolutely not. A
lot of people think that.
I think you like Richie and everything. Yeah. But it's great entertaining radio.
The thing with Richie the bus driver. Okay, let me tell you about Richie the bus driver. First of all, you guys wouldn't even know who he was if it were not for me. Steve would have knocked him off. I started calling him when I realized, I don't remember when, but one day he had mentioned he was a bus driver, and I had remembered that I used to ride his butt. I've talked about this before. before I had a car, when I was a kid in Fort Lauderdale, I used to ride Richie's
What are
bus.
the chances?
And I remember because he had a big mouth then. He was always gapping in the bus with the mirror looking up at you. And
Right.
and I remember him. I used to take the bus to the mall, the bus to the beach, and all this stuff. And I remember him. And whenever I became aware of this, I started calling him Richie the bus driver, and he became a
Right.
personality. And a lot of people think I don't like Richie. That doesn't mean that he doesn't annoy me sometimes, but
Of course.
you know. But I created this. I don't want to say a character, but I made a character, a personality out of him. He's been a part of the show forever. So I know. So anybody that thinks I don't like Richie, I know he wouldn't be here if I didn't like him.
You brought up just one last thing, if I could possibly ask, because this goes back over the history. I've listened to the Steve Kane Show on up since the mid '80s, and it's only on up because of the times of day that his show would have been on, and it's excelled with yourself and Steve these days. There was a caller, and I know that this name exists, but it's not about what he's done. The name kills me right now. This guy's name was Black Randy. How did Black Randy become Black Randy?
Black Randy?
Just the name of it. I don't know what he did.
That's a forgotten person. Black Randy. We used to have. And what happens a lot of times, because the Steve Kane Show was the longest running radio show in the state of Florida.
Yes.
And you guys know,
Yes.
I've been on the air. I don't know exactly when I started, but I started like 1990 or 91 is when I started working on the radio. So almost 35 years, 34 years. So when you're the longest running radio show, you outlive a lot of the callers, right? So a lot of these people are dead and buried, like the Black Phantom and Black Randy started calling in during the OJ trial, and he was defending OJ no matter what. He didn't care that he killed 2 white people, and we started calling him Black Randy. He got he got really upset because his son married a white girl, and he didn't want any Oreo cookie grandkids, and all this stuff. And we used to call him Black Randy. And and he was a black liberal guy who went to Harvard. He was a Harvard graduate, and in fact, and he used to come in studio and everything during the OJ trial. I forgot about Black Randy.
It just killed me because I didn't know what separated Black Randy. I don't know if you had a white. We had a couple of Dougs and everything. Merry Christmas, but I could never understand how Black Randy's name became Black Randy until you just explained it.
And we give these people names, and like now, there's always this group. Like, I don't know, who do we have now? We got Richie the bus driver. Renee from Harlem. There's always a
nothing to say, Renee. Even less to say, Jay.
When you listen to the show over the years, these people come and go. Remember Weezy.
Yes.
Copa Rick. Yes. Remember Copa Rick?
I heard of the name. It just comes. Oh my
Copa
God!
Rick.
Back.
Yeah, he was a gay guy trying to pass himself off as straight all the time.
Okay.
And there was a big gay bar in Fort Lauderdale called the Copa, so we called him Copa Rick. And these characters, they come and they go. And a lot of them die. Well,
it's a lot of it's a lot of years, a lot of people, a lot of opinions, and we might not.
You go way back.
You're both a client. Yeah, you built a hell of a clientele. It's getting bigger. It's getting stronger. And next to the Trump organization and everybody under his cabinet, the only thing that's impressive are the Steve Kane Show sponsors. And I tell you what, if anyone ever let me down, that would be the first time. And I go back quite a few years. And I love from the Wings Plus, to everything, to the Michael Lindell's with the My Pillows, and on and on it goes. But again, Brian, I don't want to outdo my welcome, so I want to thank you.
What's your name again? I forgot from the beginning. What's your name again?
John from Boca.
John from Boca. Okay.
And Merry Christmas to everybody listening out there, and be safe right now. Stay strong, Brian. Thank you for what you do.
All right, take care. Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas. Yeah, that's an old-time listener. Some of these callers, there's always, and the longer you listen, you'll see there's new people that pop up. And by the way, these are all regular listeners. It's just we'll make them more interesting by giving them a nickname. Right? Steve and I will give him a nickname, All right, let's see here. Let's go back to the phones. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
My name is Scott, and I'm calling from Kansas City.
Hey, Scott.
Yeah, I want to really quickly. You can pick up on any of these things you'd like, but I'd like to just mention them to you. I live in a part of Kansas City. It's a subset city that's always been an immigrant city, and I like it.
Yeah.
It's accepted for what it is, and when the people
Hold
come.
on, let me answer
that.
some of these phones, Scott, from Kansas City, okay? I forgot what line Scott's on. All right, is this you, Scott? No, it's not Scott. Hold on. Is this Scott? Is this you, Scott?
Yeah, that's
okay,
me.
I got you. Okay. Go ahead. I'm sorry I interrupted you. I was just answering the other lines.
Well, okay, but I'm going to name 3 observations that I just don't hear about in the news about what happens in an immigrant community, and wonder if it's everywhere in the country and how much it costs the country. I'll go through them real fast. Number 1, and it's made news in California, the CDLs, commercial driver's licenses, by the thousands have been pulled.
Yep.
I also wonder about how many illicit contractor licenses, the illegal contract, or commercial driver's licenses are here. That's number 1. Number 2, there's wire services all over the place. By wire, I mean you can wire money from one place to another, including out of the country. Western Union does real good here. Along our main part
Western Union may only exist from the business of illegals, right? I mean, when's the last time you've used Western Union yourself? I mean, I've used it, but not like since '85.
I tell you, honestly, that's a good point. I have not. My family wired me some money, Western Union, in 1980 to go to a family funeral up in Kansas City.
My parents wired me money once or twice, and I remember someone once in the late '80s, about '88, in 1988. I remember somebody I knew had received a telegram. Around 88.
Yeah, and so you wonder how many people, and it goes on here all the time, how many people have, or how much money has been wired out of the country. Then there's check cashing. Check cashing is people get can be from anywhere, and they bring their checks in. And I don't know how the business is done, but there's a part of Northeast Kansas City called Independence Avenue. It's got about, oh my God, about 20 quickie marts in a 2-mile stretch of road, and about 15 grocery stores, and a lot of their business is cashing checks.
You know, it's a funny thing. When I was younger, before I was married, when I was like first living on my own, I would go to the check cashing store sometimes to pay my utility bills. Right? When I first went on my own, and sometimes
they do that here.
Yeah, and I used to go there to file my income tax. Yeah, this is when I was really young, first out on my own, because they give you your return like on the spot, right? You'd have to pay them, but I needed the money. And I remember being in line in those days, and I was like the only English speaker in line, pretty much.
Yeah, you mentioned that too. Yeah. Oh, by the way, there's tax places here as well. I forgot to mention that, and so you got wondering about people with licenses, wire and check cashing and such, and then there was when the 2008 economic downturn happened. Mm-hmm. I was employed, but not as well as I had been.
Yeah.
But there are people who were natives to this country who were not doing well.
Well, you bring up a good point. Maybe you should message Tom Holman. I wonder if they've thought about that, like targeting check cashing stores for illegal raids, because that's where they go to do their banking.
But there were people who just got to this country, couldn't even speak English. They're driving around in beautiful, brand new pickup trucks and. Mm-hmm. And
well, listen, I'm going to move on, but I want to wish you a Merry Christmas.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. You take it. Now, if you're on hold, stand by. If you'd like to call in, the number's pinned in the live chat: 888-465-2631. We're live here on this very Merry Christmas morning. I'm going to take a break. You know what I'm going to do during the break? Now, again, I'm in sunny South Florida. I'm going to go turn the air conditioning down because it's too hot. I'm not kidding. That's Florida. I got to turn the air conditioning down. It's getting hot in here. So we'll take a quick break, and I'm going to go turn the air conditioning down. I'm not kidding. And I'll be back with more of your calls and more topics. Don't go anywhere. Hey guys, I'm talking to my cats. All right, we're back. I turned the air down and fed the cats too. It's the Brian Craig Show podcast. My name's Brian. All right, if you'd like to call in, the number's pinned in the live chat. If you're watching on YouTube Live, it's toll-free, 888-465-2631, 888-465-2631. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Good morning. This is Richie.
Oh, hey.
Brian, yeah, I heard, I think his name was John. I remember meeting him. The guy that called up about me. Can I make this? I'm going to make this a little lighter. That sports show was from out of Las Vegas, and it was back about many. I actually won a professional electric guitar off that show, answering a question, and it was a heavy metal band.
Wow!
And I'll never forget. Yeah, and I gave it away because I didn't play a guitar. I mean, it was beautiful.
People used to tell me that you called sports shows as Richie from Boar's Head.
No, I wasn't. I was Richie from. No. Actually, I know Richie from Boar's Head. I didn't know him, but I
bet maybe you must sound alike.
Boar's Head as me. Yeah, I called national shows. I called local shows. As a kid growing up in New York City, believe it or not, I still remember the phone number, Plaza 78826, a guy by the name of Bill Mazer. And I think Steve might even remember him. He was back in New York, way back. And I used to call when I came from school. I'm sort of like you. Believe it or not, a lot of the foods, I love pumpkin pie. I listen to you and I say, Jesus, he should be my younger brother.
Yeah. I used to call talk shows too. I used to call all the shows all the time. I was a chronic caller to radio shows all over the place.
I want to make this light for people this morning. First of all, Christmas to me, Merry Christmas to you, Kathy, and Emily, and your mom and your stepdad, everybody.
My stepdad's dead, but that's okay. I'll take it. It's okay.
Oh, I didn't know. The gentleman that was on the cruise ship that...
Oh, no, that's that's one of my father-in-law. Oh, that was my father-in-law. That was Kathy's father.
Oh, okay. He's still okay?
Oh, yeah, he's alive. That was my father-in-law, not stepfather.
Okay.
No, that's my father-in-law.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, no, he's...
I want to wish everybody... Well, I'm going to tell you, Christmas to me is, as a kid growing up, it was Christmas Eve, the family got together in the house and everything, And then we used to go to my aunt's house out in Long Island, and my cousin who passed away had a Lionel train set, the whole basement. I mean, the metal trains, everything in there. I mean, it took him about a month to set up. So this was by the tree. And now as you get older, as you say, a lot of your people that you knew passed away.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you how I want to tell you how I spent my Christmas Eve, and it's a message to everybody out there. My father said, when I die, Richie, as long as 10 people say that I was a good man, I've succeeded on earth. Now, I spent last night, there was nothing really on, and I started watching the service at the Vatican, and it's a beautiful church, by the way.
Yep.
And St. Patrick's Cathedral, which is gorgeous. And then I turned on and I saw dedications to Adam the Wolf.
I'm telling you, yeah.
I sat and cried. There's one guy, the carpetbagger, who was crying.
Jacob the carpetbagger, yeah, I know. Jacob the carpetbagger.
He was crying. Yeah, and then there was another guy that was walking around a mall, like totally lost in the daytime. Another friend of his from California. I mean, and he had tears in his eyes. And the pouring of love for this guy.
Yeah, that guy too. I know that guy too. I you know, his name just went out of my mind. The guy from California. It starts with a B. I know him. It's so fun. As you get older, you know so many people. I'll see if I can find it. Yeah. That guy's a rabid liberal, though, that you're talking about. He's a hardcore Trump hater.
Well,
he's in L.A.
That's what I was going to tell you.
He works in the entertainment industry in Los Angeles.
Well, that's what I was going to tell you about the liberals and everything else, because I attack them for 365 days a year. But today I forgive them. Forgive all of them. And it reminds me, when you see something like Adam the Wolf, you told me, go watch his lad with the Grinch. And that was 2 days. And he was talking about
Saturday.
Christmas. And he says, and he was talking about Christmas coming very shortly. And next year, I don't know what I'm going to be doing and stuff like that. And you realize, especially when I watch this carpetbagger, you really have to, you have to understand that we're not on this planet for a long time. You have a lot of people you love, people that are not going to be here next year. And it's sort of, in a way, it's sad, but it's a way to realize that, listen, don't hold grudges and hate people. By the way, Brian and I get along very well. Brian's a good man, and his wife is a very nice lady. And his daughter, to me, is
somebody just
excellent.
texted me, Hey Bricky, that's the name, Hey Bricky. I know him. He's a hardcore liberal. And Hey Bricky offered to give me show me around in L.A., Hey Bricky, the guy you're talking about that was crying at the mall. But I haven't, but my daughter moved back here, so I haven't been back to L.A., but yeah. Yeah, I'll tell you sometimes, when I'm doing the radio show in the morning, I don't know if you guys notice, but don't I seem more relaxed when I'm doing the podcast than the radio show? I mean,
because you're rushed with the commercials.
I'm rushed. There's so much going on. There's so much going on, and it's so high intensity, and there's stuff going on. Yeah, there's stuff going on off the air, and I'm, and I'll tell you, sometimes I'm not feeling good, and I got to do the. Like when I'm doing the podcast, if I my cold, I have a little resurgence of the cold because I did too much yesterday. I should have, if I'm too sick, I can just say, all right, I'll see you next time. On the radio show, I'm there. It's very high adrenaline, and it's also in the morning. And by the time I go on the air, I've already been up for 4 or 5 hours working. So sometimes I know I can get a little cranky.
It's timing. My wife, when she's got these little yellow strip stickers, and she writes on them. They're all over the place. You have to do that every morning. She does it with the bills and everything. But you have to do this every morning so you don't make a mistake and miss anything. Yeah. Like the other day, the Go report, he asked you, what happened to you yesterday? Nobody called me.
Yeah.
I mean, the guy screwed up.
Yeah. They were supposed to call and tell him I was out sick, and they didn't call. Then I got to deal with that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. It's a lot.
There's things, there's nothing ever goes smooth in life. So, and Brian every morning has to go up there. Like I said, he's got so many darn things going on at the same time.
And by the way, I have the studio here at home, that I'm at most of the time.
Yeah.
And
that's technical.
It is, and I got a really nice studio here. I must say, I like it a lot. But you know, I don't have to show you all the behind the scenes. I do that, like when I call people up, like I call Steve or I call William Youngman and Barry. I don't have to do that with you guys seeing and hearing. But I want you guys to see what goes on. You know, it's a lot.
Exactly, but Brian, but there's more that goes on than people realize. When I called and you said Steve, and I said no, this is Richie. Oh, okay. You got this phone with all these different numbers on it. You got commercials going on. You got the guy. I mean, I don't know how you do it every day. You need all this caffeine in you because this is, and people think it's easy. That's what's so fun. Let me tell you something. I sat and drove a bus and had a lot of responsibility, and with people, their lives and everything. But not for nothing. Brian's got to be so sharp in the brain between the years. I mean, he's got to make sure that everything is done, and the timing. It's all about timing.
And and you guys, and off the. I'm not complaining, but the show itself.
And then you work off the air.
Is that's like break time. What I got to do before the like on YouTube, I'm a one man band. Okay, I mean, I get Mike, the board op, runs the board and does the radio commercials. But if you just on YouTube, I not only do I have to do all the show prep for the show every day, and a lot of people like Steve, I was like, well, do it the night before. I want to have the fresh stuff. I don't want to be talking about yesterday's stories, right? So that's why I do it. I got to make the thumbnails on YouTube. And I don't know if you guys maybe you have or maybe you haven't, but if you notice how my thumbnails have been seriously upgraded. I've learned how to do graphic design and everything, so I can have better thumbnail. I got to create those thumbnails after I do my show prep and I decide what my lead story is going to be. I have to create the thumbnail, and that's a lot before I go on the air and everything else. It's a lot.
And then you get off the air and you got
meetings and production.
You have to meet production, advertising. You got to meet advertisers.
Oh yeah.
People think you just have it. People think you get paid just to talk on the telephone, like I'm having a conversation with you. I don't do anything but talk to you, and you got 9 million things in front of you doing everything at the same time.
Listen, way I'll tell you about that. Okay, and I'm very lucky, and I love what I do. But years ago. Doing the podcast was my wife's idea, and the podcast has developed over the years and increased. When you're working in radio is like, it's like being an actor. What I mean is you're at the mercy of people all the time, and I don't want to be at anyone's mercy. So and Steve has been very supportive of me, and the radio station is what. I started my own thing years ago, the podcast, which is developed into what you're watching right now, if you're listening on thing.
You've intertwined it. You put them together like one piece.
Yeah, I don't want to be dependent on anyone for my job. You know what I mean?
I'm going to say something to you. Barry's Vitamins. Barry and I used to talk. Mm. See, people think that we don't like each other. You know what I used to talk to Barry about you? Mm. He used to talk a little bit about Steve, but I used to say, I don't know what poor Brian's going to do. I mean, Steve's getting up there in the years. I don't know if he's going to, and he says, well, Brian will be okay because he's got a teaching degree. But Barry said to me, I don't think Brian will be able to handle the sales end of there's so much involved of selling to advertising and getting all this advertising. And let me tell you something. I've watched you develop, and it's amazing to me. I mean, I always thought you were smart, but you're brilliant. You really are brilliant. And on top of all of that, on top of that, you have to keep up with current events. And people attack you on a regular basis. I've attacked you. I mean, you got that. You set them off. But you want to know out there, people. Brian is really a nice person. And he's a conservative.
Don't ruin my rep.
And
the nice person.
Well, yeah, but it's all the radio show. Steve used to say it, and Brian used to say it to everybody. This is entertainment. It's a radio show. I'm not saying that Brian is any different, But Brian is spicy on the radio, and people call up, and I enjoy the conflict. I enjoy the going back and forth.
Well, I don't walk around town getting in arguments with people over politics. That'd be a crazy thing to do. But no. You know what you said about Barry with the sales. Steve has always been famous for his. I handle all of that. You know, there's something now we do at the radio station. Some of the advertisers we have are from the radio station, but most of what you hear is me. 99% of what you hear on my my podcast here on YouTube, on the radio, it's all I handle. I do the sales. I do all that stuff too. And it's a lot. People have no idea. I'm going to tell you this. I've never said this number, okay? Because it's such a high number. It sounds ridiculous, and some of you might not believe this, but I wake up at 1:30. I take a shower. I'm working by 1:45 on show prep. My wife has kept track of how many hours I work a week. I work on average. And a lot of you aren't going to believe this because the number, and the reason I haven't said it because it's so high. I work an average of 120 hours a week, every week, 120 hours a week. Yeah. Now that does include, like this live stream I'm doing now, this podcast episode, but 120 hours. By the way, that's average. So some weeks I'm working more, but never less than 100 hours a week. It's a lot.
Well, it's a lot.
And people and I thought, Life Imaging FLA with the heart scan, okay?
Yeah.
By the way, that's from the radio station, and I didn't. That's not from me. They asked me, hey, would you know? I said I need a heart scan. I thought I was going to have a heart attack because I've been working so much, and now I know I have no plaque buildup, no blockage, no nothing. I'm okay, or cancer, no cancer, but 120 hours a week is my average work week. That's a lot.
And people also don't realize the fact that, and may she have and Kathy never complains. I mean, she's not well. And Brian does a lot of this stuff. Brian used to get criticized for doing things with his daughter. And that was probably, and I don't really know this personally, but that was probably Kathy basically saying, Brian, you have to live a good life, enjoy yourself with Emily, because I can't do a lot of things. I'm restricted. Yeah. She's got a big heart.
Well,
and I know, it's true. And people don't get it. And this is Christmas time. And this Adam and the Woo, like I said, I'm going back to him. I sat crying because this man, and I didn't know him personally, okay? I didn't watch him like you did. I watched him once in a while because I watch so many different things. And we watch a lot of the same things together, by the way. And I'm watching this, and I'm saying, man, this guy was loved by so many people, and not one person had a bad thing to say about this guy. Superman.
Well, there's one person who should. There's a YouTube channel that was the whole channel was about attacking Adam the Woo, and they said they're not going to do that anymore. But they've had 2 videos since he passed. And they were criticizing him even after he passing through productions. It's called. You can check. I mean, it's.
I wouldn't watch that. These are people that are grift. This is like the what's her name? That's always after Charlie Kirk's wife.
Well, the last time I saw Adam the Woo at Epcot, okay. And I put a picture of me up on Twitter the other day of when I met him at Epcot. That's the last time I saw him, and he was about 6'6". Yeah. Okay, so I come up.
He was 6'4". He was 6'4".
He was taller.
He was 6'4". I heard it.
Yes, he was a little taller than that. I'm 5'7". Okay, and I come up to like his shoulder. I look like a jockey in the picture. And
he was a big guy.
And I had a conversation, and he knew me. He knew who I was, and he didn't know who I was the first time I met him. He put me in his vlog once. He didn't know who I was then. Well, mainly because Disney made us wear freaking masks and But but he knew me the last time I talked, and I talked to him for a bit, and I told him 2 things. I told him, I said, you are the great American success story. And if you go back and watch Adam the Woo's videos, when he quit his job and started living in his van and making YouTube videos, he was not monetized on YouTube. He had no money. And if you look at his house now, it's a beautiful home he had and celebrate. In fact, my wife and I'm probably going to end up moving to Celebration myself. We have to have a 1-story home because my wife can't go upstairs. But I'm thinking, you know, when I'll never retire, but when I get to like the semi-retire, you know, I think we'll probably move to Celebration and buy a house there. I mean, he had a beautiful home. You know?
Yeah. Do you know how many viewers he had?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, a lot.
I think people. I think somebody said 750,000. I think it was close to 1 million.
You know, subscribers. Well, he had 2 channels. He had the Adam the Woo channel and the Daily Woo. And the Adam the Woo channel, he stopped posting 2 years ago. He'd post like once a year. But the Daily Woo, yeah. But, you know, I have over 3 million monthly people who listen and watch me. On YouTube alone, I have 3.5 million on average every month that watch me just on YouTube.
YouTube is the new television and the new radio. And people, like you always say, these CBS, they spend millions of dollars doing what they do, and it's really, and you do the same thing in a one-man show.
It's like what I was telling you about wanting to be on my own. You know, to get on, you know, I had to, when I got my first radio show, I had to audition, right? And I'm like, this is just stupid. You know, I'm going to go to these gatekeepers who are going to tell me that I can work. Screw that. And my wife came up with the idea for the podcast, which used to just be an audio podcast, and I didn't think it would grow into what it's grown into. But if you go on one of our cruises, over half of the people are people that listen to my podcast or watch me on YouTube. You know, over half.
Yeah, I criticized your podcast, but I was hoping it would go further, and it did. I used to say, because I used to say, you know, this call I'm giving you today, if I couldn't do this on a regular basis because it's not entertaining. To sit there and I'm not sucking up. You would say sucking up. I'm telling people the way you really are and what you really do, and they don't understand it. When I call up, I know exactly what I'm going to say at the same time, and my wife laughs because I set my alarm clock. I set my alarm clock for like 5 o'clock. Just like the other day, I said, I woke up 5 o'clock. I'm exhausted. And he's not there today. Thank God you were, I hate to say this, thank God you were sick, because I was upset. I said, why didn't you at least give anyone a notice? He might not be there.
I couldn't do it.
I know you couldn't.
I could, if I would have done it, I would have looked like Scott Adams in the hospital bed. I'd have been in my bed looking all, I want people to see me that way, you know?
Well, people don't realize you're working all these hours, but your income has to have, you make a lot more than a school teacher. Nobody wants to know your bank account, but people that work hard like that, he's self-employed. Brian is self-employed. This is a business.
Yeah.
This is a business. People don't realize.
And I'll tell you another thing. I have no contracts with anyone. I don't have a contract with Steve Kane. I don't have a contract with the radio station. Nothing. I mean, I'm 100%, and I make a good living. I'm not gonna lie. I work very. You say I work 120 hours a week, but you know, but I get to work from home. I have my studio here at home, which is, I'm doing national television interviews from a TV studio I got over here next to on my left. You know, I mean, it's amazing. What I know it is. I mean, I pinch myself. I can't believe, you know, what I got.
But you work for it.
Well,
you're the American dream. You look at Adam the Woo, but you're the American dream too. You're a guy that worked for minimum wage as a boarder.
I got paid nothing. They called it an internship. I worked for free.
Yeah, free. Okay, and here, look what you've done with your life, and that's why it ticks you off to hear some of these people that don't get off their behind and do a darn thing.
Yeah.
It's aggravating. And then you got to pay big taxes to people that are just sucking
I didn't finish. So and the other thing I told Adam the Woo, other than he's the great American success story, is I talked to him about the haters. You know, when I knew that he knew me, because the first couple times I didn't know if he knew me or he didn't know who I was, but the last time I talked to him, he knew exactly who I was. and which I was like, oh, that, which it happens, like, people know me. But I was talking to him about the haters and what I go through, and I know what he goes through. And it's just, you don't even think about it. It's just part of the thing. It doesn't mean that it doesn't bother. He was having a problem at the time with a lady friend of his that online haters were attacking. And it was a really brutal time for him. And I was, I was talking to him about it.
I looked at some of his, I looked at some of his videos, and he just was he did characters on his videos. He wasn't afraid to make not an idiot of himself, but he was real. In other words, it would be like walking through a mall and having somebody all of a sudden, one of your friends just.
But I'll tell you one thing I've noticed, because there's a lot of YouTubers that do like the Orlando theme park vlog community.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
And Adam the Woo has been. Hold on, I'm going to answer these phones. And Richie, I'm not paying attention.
Okay.
I don't know what line you're on. So hold on. I'm going to put you on hold while I do this. And I think all right. Is this you, Richie?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's right.
Okay. I got a new phone. That's why this keeps happening. And the new phone I have, the lines aren't numbered. I just have to remember. And if it's line 25 or line 65 or line 2, and I can't, you know what I mean? So, So anyway, he has been so generous to these other YouTubers forever, like doing collabs and promoting their channels. And I'm starting to see...
He built their channels with them.
Yeah, and I've started to see who was just using him and were jealous and hateful. And
That's terrible.
Because they put videos up after the day after he died and don't even mention it, like nothing happened, and it's like they're almost like now there's people like Jacob the Carpetbagger, Hey Bricky, like I tell you, I don't want to mention.
Did you watch his video?
Yeah.
Did you watch his video?
Hey Bricky. And there's another YouTuber.
Yes, I'm talking about.
Yeah, he had a break.
I'm talking about the video.
Which one?
He crying like a baby. The one yesterday. The one he's walking around like a lost sheep, and then he's in Tennessee.
No. That's Tampa J. Yeah, you're talking about Tampa J. That's Tampa J.
No,
yeah.
He called himself the Carpetbagger.
Oh yeah, Jacob the Carpetbagger. That's Jacob the Carpetbagger. Jacob the Carpetbagger. Yeah,
that was him. He's walking around like a lost, and he talked for 50-something minutes, and he broke down crying like a baby.
I saw
the emotions
that
came out.
Yeah.
And I was crying with him. I was crying. You know why?
I couldn't finish that video. I couldn't finish it. It was really rough.
It's Christmas. It's Chris. He said he owed Adam his whole life. Christmas, folks. You got to hug the person next to you because you don't know what tomorrow will bring, and people don't realize that.
Well, these YouTubers though, there's this community of YouTubers in Orlando that do the theme park that he would do collabs with all the time. Most of them hate each other. And Adam always did these collaborations, which he didn't need to do because he was so big. And so many of them have not said a damn word. And I'll tell you, I saw something yesterday. I shouldn't mention this, but I'm going to mention this. He was found dead by a YouTuber from California, the German in Venice. And I followed him for quite a while, the German in Venice. He's a German guy who moved to Venice, California, because he was following in the path of Arnold Schwarzenegger, because he's from Germany, but he didn't go to the gym in Venice, as you'll see. He looks like, But anyway, he's the one who found Adam. I guess he's been in Florida making videos. The German in Venice, look him up. He did a bunch of videos in Miami. And he knocked on Adam's door Monday, he didn't answer, and he called the police for the wellness check. Which seems very odd to me because Adam was not an elderly man. He was 51, had no health problems. If I went to some guy's house and he didn't answer the door, I would assume he left, he wasn't home, he was hooked up with some lady friend because he's single, or he's passed out drunk or something. I wouldn't call the police for a wellness check. So I'm and he hasn't done a video yet. So I'm curious what inspired him to call the wellness check. But I saw a video, and you guys you can find this video. It's a horizontal video on YouTube. Adam the Woo's house in Celebration is becoming a memorial, and people
Shrine.
and
Yeah,
I'm
it's a shrine.
and I was thinking of driving up on Saturday, but now that his dad mentioned they're going to have a memorial open to the public, I might not. I might wait for that, but I might still go, just in case I can't make it to the memorial or they block off the road to the house and people can't go. But anyway, I saw a fan of Adam's went to his house and they made a video, and this is online. And the German from Venice was out in front of Adam's house. He was taking pictures with people and making his vlog, and it just rubbed me the wrong way.
It's not appropriate.
It was not
It's not
appropriate.
appropriate.
He wasn't upset,
No.
and he seemed to be enjoying.
Like it's a promotion.
Well,
a
he's
promotion for himself.
well. What's happened is he'll always be, and I don't know if he's the one who climbed the ladder to the third floor. I can't imagine the German. If you see the German from Venice, I can't imagine him climbing to the third floor on a ladder. But I don't know if that was him or someone else. But he'll always have the distinction of the guy that found Adam the Woo dead. And
My brother
he's
died
making,
the same way, by the way.
well, and let me just finish, not to distract from your brother. I'm sorry about that. But
Yeah.
it's almost like he was enjoying the celebrity the new celebrity
Yeah.
he's found, because he's the guy that found Adam the Woo dead. And I don't know him, and I'm not saying that that's what he's thinking, but he shouldn't be taking. I wouldn't take pictures with. There have been times I've refused to take pictures with people that have come up to me in public under certain situations, and refused to do things that people have wanted to do with me out in public. And I would not take pictures with fans in front of Adam's house. I would not be smiling in front of Adam's house, and
You wouldn't take interviews that you would that you found them either. I mean, it's like these people they take his celebrity and they try to make it that they don't like. They're not talking about a human being here.
Well,
I mean, this is supposedly the friend.
Yeah. Well, you know what it is. There's a couple things about it. With the little bit of celebrity, I've been doing this since I was 19. Okay, so I have some celebrity. You hear me talk about this. People do come up to me out in public all the time when I'm out and about, and it's been that way my whole life because I've been on the radio. It's blown up, since the internet, and in recent years more so because I'm more well known. But what I've learned about people is so oftentimes when you're a celebrity. And I can only imagine what it's like for the really big celebrities, because they don't view. This is a hard thing for people to understand, and this is what I said, that they don't view you as a real person. You're like an inanimate object.
No.
And I can't explain that, but that's how people are. And with the YouTubers, this thing with German in Venice, which was so inappropriate. You guys look up Adam the Woo on YouTube. This will come up in the recommendations, and it's a vertical video that someone took, not him, a fan that's not a well-known YouTuber took this video. You'll see the German, and let me know if I'm right or wrong about the way he behaved. It's like these conservative influencers that were at Turning Point. These guys, whether it's these YouTubers that are being inappropriate right now, or these conservative influencers, they're so addicted to the views, the clicks, and the subs that they don't act normal under circumstances.
No.
Like look how they're acting with Charlie Kirk's assassination and treating his widow.
Terrible.
It's appalling. And this guy, German from Venice, it's like the man who shot Jesse James made a whole living that he was the man that shot Jesse James. I'm not accusing the German of doing anything to Adam, but what I mean is he's taken the death and he's gotten notoriety and celebrity status because he'll always be the man that found Adam the Woo dead. And
yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
If people also don't realize that like somebody like yourself, okay, you have a private life also, but when you do what you do, you actually become part of the public. The public thinks they own you, like you said, that you're like an object to them. No, how dare you? You're part of us. You're out there every day, and people don't realize that.
When I realized that is I had one of the stalkers that I've had. Okay, this was about 5 or 10 years ago. I've mentioned this on the show from time to time. This one guy, he was really nasty. This was a real stalker, and he got busted, right? And you get law enforcement involved in these things. And I couldn't believe what this guy said to me. He said, "You want to be fucking famous? This is what you fucking get, motherfucker," he said to me. Like, I deserve his harass. I apologize for the words, but he was screamed it at me. I deserve the harassment. But he was yelling the words to me when he, and I'm like, what a psycho. And then I realized all these stalkers are that way.
You make enemies out there. Now, not for nothing. I could tell you a story that everybody would really be. As a bus driver, I had this crazy girl that I felt bad. I don't know if I ever told you the story. She was in the Catholic church on University Drive at 5 in the morning. I pull the bus up, and she's got a suitcase, and she's dressed in black. Her hair looked like Clarabelle. And I picked her up like 3 straight. Yeah, I picked her up like 3 straight days, and she told me that she got thrown out of Sunrise Lakes. Her mother lived there, and she was 53 years old or 54. She said you got to be 55 there. They were very strict, so they threw her out of the apartment, and she was homeless.
Oh my goodness!
And I said, "Well, you're cold and everything." She said the priest actually said you can't sleep in the church.
Yeah.
She was sleeping there, and he walked in and he said, "You got you." So I felt bad for her. I said, "You could ride my bus, go in the back. I won't even charge you." I told her, I said, "Don't worry about it. Go back there and sleep. You're safe here." And she'd go to the back and sleep. Brian, let me tell you something. That was I try to be kind to her, and then all of a sudden,
there you go.
She started calling me from hotel rooms at 2:00 in the morning with crazy animal sounds, and telling me that I should leave my wife.
Oh my goodness!
And she was in love with me, and I screamed at her. I said, "Listen, I was kind to you. I even had the Broward County Sheriff at the bus terminal talk to her and try to tell her to stop harassing me." And he was talking to her, and she was smiling in his face. He came back into the office, and he looked at me. He said, "Man, she's Section 8. She's as crazy as hell." She threatened. She was going to Henderson Mental Clinic. She threatened to blow up a library because somebody wanted the computer at the Broward County Library, at the bus terminal, at the West Terminal. She was a nut job.
Well, you know what it is when you talk about because you're talking about a homeless person, basically, right? You know, I was talking yesterday, and some people got a little ticked at me about this. I was talking about how I'm an advocate against the homeless, right? And because they had the homeless guy stabbed a woman to death inside of Barnes and Noble in Palm Beach Gardens a couple days ago here in South Florida.
That was terrible.
And for somebody to become homeless, it doesn't just happen overnight, okay? These are not people that are normal people that lose their job and they're living on the street like this. They have worn out their parents, their brothers, their sisters, their grandmas, their grandpas. Before they get to the streets at that level, the people that love them more than anything in the world can't even handle them anymore. You know, and so they're mental cases that you can't help. And you shouldn't even try. You could get stabbed to death in Barnes and Noble.
Brian, we had a bus driver that I got him the job. When I first started, and he got his brother. His brother worked for Eastern Airlines in the baggage. They had a marijuana deal where they busted a bunch of. He had left, and he actually became a Broward County supervisor with the bus terminal.
Yep.
But his brother used to ride, was a driver, and he had a problem getting hired because he had a DUI. He had a drinking problem, and he was married with a couple of kids. He ended up divorced. He lost his bus driver job because he got drunk and he crashed his car into. He got arrested. He got put away for a year. Put away for a year. His brother, who was a supervisor, got him. He had a lawn business. He did a year in jail, and his brother set him up.
Oh my goodness!
With the parents and everything, set him up for his lawn business. Okay, he comes. He actually gets out of jail, and they're waiting at Young Circle at the Greyhound bus station for this guy, and he doesn't show up. He shows up 8 hours later, drunk as a skunk. Now, he hadn't had a drink in a year, and he was so wasted, and they turned their back on him. He ended up homeless at Young Circle, and he was an ex-bus driver, and he used to walk around, and he just gave up on life. He died in the street. He collapsed in the street on US 1.
Yeah.
These people, I know more about homeless people than anybody.
There's a story in the news now. There's a guy who was a child actor on a show that
I saw it.
Yeah, my daughter. I used to watch that show with my daughter.
Nickelodeon.
What was the name of the show? I just forgot the name of the show. It's a
Nickelodeon.
It was on Nickelodeon. If anybody in the chat knows the show, it's a very good show.
The guy was.
I can't remember the name of the show, but I used to watch it with my daughter. And anyway, this guy is so down and out and on drugs and homeless. And somebody got him on video, and it went viral. And people are putting together GoFundMe's and wanting that. His mother, Ned's Declassified. Thank you very much. Yeah, Ned's Declassified. It was a great show. It was Seinfeld level brilliance in its writing. I used to watch it with my daughters. Great show. Ned's Declassified. His mother posted on social media, "Don't help him. Don't give him any money. He won't take it to do anything but drugs." By the time they get there, they're beyond help, and it's not. They just are beyond help.
Fried.
Yeah.
His brain is fried. Listen, I'm eating a pizza at Hollywood Boulevard. There's a Mario pizza place on Hollywood with my wife, and we're outside eating a pizza, and these people give this homeless guy money. They say,
I hate that.
Here's money. Go in and buy pizza. And he takes their money, and then he goes into the garbage can to take out pizza that's in the garbage. People throw out pieces of pizza. They said, "We gave you money." He says, No. And he walked away. I said, "You gave him money. You know what he's going to do with that money? He's going to buy liquor." Mm-hmm. Or he's going to buy. These people are so addicted. They have schemes. They drink cooking wine.
Yeah. And I don't know if they make it this way anymore. We had an alcoholic guy in my family. He was married to an aunt of mine, a third husband, fourth husband. I lost track. There were so many husbands. But he would drink food coloring because food coloring had alcohol in it back in those days.
Don't drink anything. They're so bad. They had, like I said, the homeless. The homeless. I dealt with them for so many years. They threw me a party when I retired on the bus. I told you that story. They threw me a big party my last day. They got their money together. They bought a cake from Publix.
Oh my goodness.
Homeless, because I used to give them. Brian, I had a heart, man. I used to say, "Listen, put a couple pennies in the meter."
Oh, let me tell you a funny. You just reminded me of a funny story. On one of the, PJ who calls in sometimes. PJ who calls in. His name's PJ Gladnick. He's a well-known conservative writer. He writes for newsbusters.org. He's a really connected guy, and he goes on our cruises sometimes. And this was a couple of cruises ago. There was these British people. This was very funny. They're on the cruise and they're talking to PJ and everything else, and they're ordering fancy wines from the bar, and PJ starts talking to them about wines, and they asked him if he could recommend a good American wine, and this guy PJ's got such a sense of humor. He said, "Yeah, it's Thunderbird." But he said it was, so I only imagine when they got back to Fort Lauderdale, going into a store looking for Thunderbird wine.
You know what they used to drink for beer? Did you ever hear of the beer Hurricane the beer Hurricane High Gravity? I think it was. This was the cheapest beer. Every beer was. They had cheap beers for these homeless people. Brian, they had schemes to get money. You know what they used to do? They go outside of Publix at Young Circle. They'd see somebody drop a receipt and they'd pick it off the ground, and they would go inside Publix. And they would shoplift the like a product that they saw on there. Yeah. On the receipt, and they'd go out, and then they'd bring it back and say, "I changed my mind. Here's my receipt." Yes. And they would give them cash back. Yeah. And they'd go to the liquor store and buy liquor. That's how they got their liquor. I saw a video on X the other day. I'm sure a lot of you have seen this. And a woman made a TikTok video bragging about this. She goes to a Walmart. She gets a big, long grocery receipt out of the garbage at the exit. She goes in and loads up her cart with those same items and walks out the store and gets the receipt check like she paid for it.
Can you believe it?
Yeah, there are people. Yeah, there are people. There are people that do that. They have scams to get money. I mean, if they use their brains to do what you do, they probably would have been successful in life.
Oh,
There
my
are a lot of
goodness.
smart people that are totally addicted.
But I'll tell you, with all due
and-
respect to what but what Barry told you, Barry Nevins told you, because I was friends with Barry. He passed away years ago. That not only
Yeah.
was he completely wrong, I've taken the show and made it more well known than it ever was.
Yeah,
Steve was well known.
bigger, and
Yeah, go ahead.
yeah, your show right now is bigger than ever before. Like
Yeah.
President Trump would say,
Yeah.
"Make America great."
That's
again."
right.
The biggest. You got to change the name to your podcast. The biggest podcast, the Golden Podcast, because you have really created something that's only going to keep on growing.
Oh,
it
yeah.
can't get less. It's probably in the last year or two probably tripled in growth, and it's getting more and more and more.
Well,
I see some of your advertisers that you get.
Yeah.
Woman, there's a woman that, I mean, I think this things. I don't know how you have the time to go out and reach out to these people. They might be reaching out to you at this point because you have become sort of famous. I mean, once you become famous, sometimes people will call you up for advertising.
Yeah, it's
I
not.
mean,
I'm not knocking down doors like that. Those old days. That's true. But
Yeah.
but it's still a lot of work. And and listen, the success of the show is you guys in the listening. I was talking about this yesterday. You guys in the listening audience. That's key, because if you got no listeners, you got no show, right?
Right.
It's not people don't. It's not a charity.
No.
All right, Richie. You and I have been talking
I'm gonna
for
let you
almost
go.
an hour.
I'm going to let you. Yeah, long time. I'm going to let you go. One thought to everybody out there. Remember, give the person next to you a hug, because maybe they might not be there next year, and you never know. And life is short. And don't hold grudges. And this is the time of the year to forgive, man.
That's right.
Forgive.
All right.
You want to hate liberals? Do it tomorrow.
All right. Merry
Have a
Christmas.
great
All
day.
right. Take care. Oh my goodness, that's the longest conversation I've ever had with any caller in the history. But it is Christmas. All right. I'm going to take a quick break. Merry Christmas, everyone. We are here live on this MAGA Merry Christmas morning. If you'd like to call in, the number is pinned in the live chat. 888-465-2631. 888-465-2631. We'll be right back. All right, we're back. I'm Brian. It's the Brian Craig Show podcast. If you want to call in live, the number's pinned in the live chat, 888-465-2631. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hi, I'm calling from Montana.
Hey, Montana.
Hi, it's Sydney from Montana. I've spoken to you before.
Yes.
I just wanted to wish you a Merry Christmas, Brian, and thank you so much for what you do. I love listening to you guys in the morning, and if I can't catch you, I like to I can just go back and rewind. And so it's
that's
just
awesome.
been perfect.
That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome.
So,
Thank you.
it's perfect. I love it so much. And so I appreciate what you do and you bring to us, and the MAGA movement and Trump and the support that he needs.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's
so
right.
it's been really cool.
Well, cool. All right. Now go ahead.
All right. Well, thank you.
If I had
Merry
Richie on
Christmas.
for an hour, I can have you on for a little longer too. Don't worry.
I didn't want to interrupt Richie. I hung up, so you could talk to him.
Yeah.
So that was a good. I like that time, but because we don't get you like this, you are calm and relaxed when you're at home.
I'm at home every day. I do
So-
I do the radio show. If you
Yeah.
are watching and I have with the green screen and everything, that's my home studio.
Oh no, I always watch you on the live.
Mhm.
Oh wait.
Yeah, if you're
Oh,
watching,
yeah, so
like
that-
if you're watching me and I have like and you and you see all the if you see me at the radio station, you see the radio station behind me. You see Mike the board op and stuff. I'm at the but if you don't see that, I'm in my home studio.
Oh my gosh, that's cool.
I know it's hard to believe how few people know. Oh, let me answer these lines that are coming in. It's amazing to me how few people know that I'm not at the radio station. The radio station's about an hour drive from my house, and
Oh my gosh.
yeah, it's just too far. Yeah, I have to go sometimes. I have to go up next
You go.
week, but
Do you go 5 days a week? Are you there 5 days a week?
I'm at the radio station maybe once every 2 or 3 weeks for one day. I do everything from my home studio every day.
I'm gonna have to pay more attention to what's in your background. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I usually just go to you when I see, when you have Trump or whatever behind you or whatever article you're going to talk about.
Yeah, that's my home
Snapchat.
studio. When I'm at the radio studio, you'll see a window behind me where the board op is.
Yeah, I've seen that. Oh my God.
I like
What
the
about,
radio station's very nice, and the studio is the most. We have I think we have the most modern, up to date radio studio in the market, but it's just it's such a long drive in the morning that and the drive home it takes a lot out of me. By the time I get on the air, I'm like tired because of the drive, on top of the all the pre-show stuff. It's just too much.
And then you have like your own podcasting that you do, or
so it makes it a lot easier. Mm-hmm.
Right. I think it's cool.
It is cool.
I'm a little. I know that you said earlier you didn't get to see all the Kennedy.
I've got it recorded.
The Trump portion. Or?
I watched up and through the end of Stallone. I've got the whole thing recorded. I'll watch the rest of it today or over the weekend.
I can't remember where Stallone hit with Vance. Vance did. Oh my God, chills. You did such a good job.
Well, at the beginning of that, I mentioned this at the beginning of the show today. I'll mention it again. Trump did when Trump came out and hosted. He hit a home run. I mean, he should be hosting the Oscars and the Emmys and the Golden Globes. He's really good. But he took a jab at Stallone. Did you catch it?
No.
Yeah, when he first came out, I'm dying to know what Stallone did that had President Trump say this. He said, "I've known Sly for many years. Not too long ago, if I called him for a favor, he probably wouldn't do it. But now, he probably would."
Oh, because he did the Clinton.
I don't know, but there's something, there's something that happened in the past that we don't know about. And then the camera went to Stallone, and I can't remember who was sitting. Michael Crawford was sitting next to him, the Phantom of the Opera. He said something to Michael Crawford, right? Hold on, let me answer this other line. Yeah, he said something to Michael Crawford, Stallone, when Trump said that. I wonder what happened. I mean, something happened.
I'm surprised. some it'll tell, or maybe he's being really discreet because the loans, over on his side, or now over on more the Republican side.
Mm-hmm.
I do appreciate that, but I also like that Trump will get his bids. That makes me so happy. I think it's funny. He's funny. He's the most personable and president we've ever had. He's always telling us exactly what's going on and exactly what he's doing.
He's the everyman's billionaire. See, and this is one of the things that they don't understand. Why do people, why do regular middle-class Americans relate to this billionaire guy so much? And, I remember when President Trump first came down the escalator. We've all known President Trump our whole life, right? I mean, I don't, and I just assumed that he had this Playboy past that we were going to be hearing about, 70s New York, and everything. And we found out the Playboy thing was just an image. It was part of his marketing. You know what I mean? I saw an interview with him a week or two ago. It was an old interview. It was with either Oprah or Sally Jesse Raphael or someone. And I can't remember who it was, but it was an interview when he was just a celebrity. It was a lady interviewer, but it was one of the famous ones. Rona Barrett, Sally Jesse, Barbara Walters, maybe, one of those crew.
Barbara Walters. And
they were talking about not drinking alcohol. And he says, I've not even had caffeine. I don't even drink coffee. And I'm like, wow.
That's amazing.
Isn't that something? I wish I could.
It does.
That's amazing.
I don't sleep, so I get it. I'm not a sleeper at all. So I catch a lot of your shows. It's 3 o'clock in the morning when I get the ding that you're on. So, on my time. But so I'm usually up and Brian's on. Okay, there we go. But I get his sleeping habits. Some people can do that. I'm a caffeine drinker, but I appreciate that no one can say they've ever seen him with I guess he gets his caffeine from his Diet Coke. But
well, that's true. That's true. You get caffeine. Now that interview was a long time ago. He's not Mormon. He may drink caffeine now, but at that time he didn't even drink caffeine or coffee. And I thought that was
impressive.
What he may have meant, like, I can't function in the morning without my coffee. So I think what he was saying is he doesn't drink coffee, as a drug to pick him up in the morning. And let me tell you something. This thing that he's doing with the drug cartels, stopping the drugs coming in. His brother died from alcoholism, right?
Yep.
And I remember one of the seasons of The Celebrity Apprentice, Khloe Kardashian was on, right? One of Kim Kardashian's sisters. And she's the one that's really big, like she's a giant.
Yeah.
And he kicked her off the show because he found out she had a DUI that he didn't know about. Oh. And he kicked her off the show because he didn't want to give a platform to somebody who did drinks and drives. Right. And alcohol's a drug, and he understands. He lost his brother due to the drug addiction of alcohol, and that's part of his mission is to save other people's brothers, from the drugs that the cartels are pouring in here.
I do remember seeing and there's, you watch so much now, thank God, but I don't remember what it was for either, but he didn't get choked up, but he paused, and you could, that's Trump choked up for us right now, about his brother. Maybe, you know what? It was with Theo Vaughn, I think. Maybe it was with him. But anyway, that was a cool interview.
Yeah.
Yes. Anyway, but let's see. When he talked about the cocaine and stuff, that was so hilarious. What Trump's response?
Yeah, he's good. That Kennedy Center honors. He was so natural, too. Yeah. Up there, he was so natural.
That's the other thing. He is so comfortable and unbothered because he's been in the public eye for, you're right, my entire life. So he just was everywhere, and he was loved and admired, and he had Mrs. Universe, and it wasn't this big old Jeffrey Epstein crap. It was just it was business.
Mm-hmm.
And none of those women came away going, "Oh my goodness." Well.
And by the way, that one with
you- I mean,
Alicia,
you-
that one with the one Miss Universe that had the weight problem, Alicia Machado. Okay. You know, if you the one, you know, she became Miss Universe, and then Trump said she was too fat, and you know, what that was all about, and because I remember that phase, and this is how I know her name. Donald Trump and that Miss Universe, Alicia Machado, were on every talk show in America for months over that. I remember seeing them on Regis Philbin, and they would go on there talking about a weight loss journey, and she would work out sometimes, and Donald Trump would be there talking about it. That was a publicity stunt for the Miss Universe pageant, and it made the Miss Universe pageant famous and popular again. And but anyway, if you follow her, because she was out there attacking him, the only Miss Universe that attacked him when he ran the first time, she has a criminal history in her home country of Colombia after she was Miss Universe. If you guys look her up, you know, so she's really a low life. Look her, Alicia Machado, the Miss Universe that Trump said was too fat. And but that was just a publicity stunt, but he knows how to get on media.
Did not know that.
He went on every talk show in America with her about her being too fat to be Miss Universe. It was hilarious. And again,
I don't remember the interviews. I do, but I do. Hearing you say that, the first thing I thought it was kind of like the Pete Hegseth thing. You're not in shape. There's a certain tone and a certain build. There's an expectation.
She obviously is a beautiful woman. She became Miss Universe. And she was probably thinner than the average woman today. But it was it was mainly a publicity stunt.
That's good.
But anyway, that's the only thing from Miss Universe that we've heard that is negative. If Donald Trump or any of these things that these haters want to claim with Epstein, you would have half a dozen or more Miss Universes coming out, or Miss Universe contestants coming out.
Nasty locker room talk that he did on the bus. Who cares? You know what I say with my friends about men sometimes, when we're just getting together? If anybody had a recording on me, I would not be able to do the job that I had before retirement. There's no way.
Yeah.
Because someone would hear that and expect that, I'm going to carry that through into my job or whatever. But we joke around. We'll say foul things to each other sometimes. And I don't know about that part, but, well, I don't know. But some of my friends, but it was a joke, and nobody in Miss Universe has ever said he did it. Nobody can claim that he's done that, and that's I think what's
well. You know what though? I'll tell you this, and you can tell this. This thing with the Epstein. If you notice, Don Lemon was bringing it up yesterday. Oh, Trump's in the Epstein files, and most of the callers that I get and people here. It's mostly gay men that are obsessed with Jeffrey Epstein and Trump. And I don't know why, but I don't know. But it seems to me that gay men that are liberal and Trump haters are obsessed with that story. I don't know why, but rarely do I get a call from a guy about it who's not gay.
I think that, and I'm just going to throw spitballs here, I think that it's look, you are too. See, sometimes you dabble. See, you can't discriminate against us now, and they want to catch that.
Oh, okay. You're involved in sexual immorality too, so you know. But Trump is Trump's pro-gay rights. Trump is not against gay rights.
That is the thing that kills me. And I've said I have gay friends, tons of them, and I've said I will march with you if he takes away and tries to kill you on Facebook. They're saying these things. He wants to have us killed.
Well, you know, I'll tell you, in the first campaign, when Trump, during the primaries of the first campaign, there was an interview with Trump. He was asked about gay rights, gay marriage, and he's that's fine, I don't care. And I thought that was the one time in the campaign that I thought, because the Christian vote. Yep. Mayor Giuliani, when he ran for president and got creamed in the primaries. And he was very popular. This was right after 9/11. He was America's mayor. And the reason he lost the Florida primary, Giuliani, Republican primary, and that was it. His campaign was over because he dressed in drag at a Halloween event when he was mayor. And he was pro-gay rights, even though he was America's mayor and very conservative. And the Christian coalition and the Christian wouldn't vote for him, and he lost. And I thought when Trump came out in favor of gay rights in the first campaign, I thought we're gonna have some trouble. And then Franklin Graham endorsed him and stuff. But I thought, the Christians, they're not going to vote for him. But he's very, I would say when it comes to gay rights, he's liberal.
To be honest with you, too, socially, I guess I am as well. No, I don't like the
Well, not
word
on
liberal.
abortion.
I'm more...
But what's happened is
no.
this trans thing has taken over the gay rights movement. And,
to be honest with you, the gays, the older gays that I know are pissed about it. This isn't what we want.
They're so misguided. Look at my video. Look at my video here on my channel when I went to the Tesla protest. Have you seen that video?
Okay.
If you go to that video,
no, I did not.
Okay, go and watch it. I went to a liberal Tesla protest during all that stuff, right? When they were, and there were a lot of liberals there, and I was wearing this cool shirt I have that has Trump and Elon Musk on it, and it says Doge and my MAGA hat, and they were freaking out. They were freaking out. I made it's on my channel here, but 99% of the people that are there are senior citizen gays and lesbians. And I'm thinking, why do they hate Trump? Trump is pro-gay rights.
Yeah. I don't know. I can't speak to that. I just know that there was the movement, and that's great, and drag queens and whatever, but they weren't in schools. That's the difference now. Drag queens were coming to the libraries, and if you wanted to send your kid there to be read a decent story by a guy in drag, you could go do that. But it wasn't anything.
Drag shows is adult entertainment, okay?
True.
It doesn't belong in school. The Hooters girls shouldn't come. You shouldn't have the Hooters girls come to school either, okay?
No, and they don't.
You know what I mean? Yeah,
So,
and if they do, they should be kicked out, There's some things that just aren't
centralizing
appropriate.
women if they do that.
Yeah. So,
I'm very resentful of the fact that being a woman, I had been relegated to a costume. You just go borrow my makeup, and you can borrow my dress, and you are now a woman. And I agree with what is a woman. You have no idea what it feels like to be a woman. I don't know what it feels like to be a man. I don't want to.
Yeah.
But I don't appreciate that at all. And that with the new gay movement, blah blah blah, that I have a lot of resentment for. You know what? Do your thing. Go do your thing. Leave everybody else alone.
The thing about this is what's happened. Okay, with the gay rights, all the gay rights activist goals have been achieved and were achieved long ago. And the last one was with the gay marriage. They could serve in the military. They could do anything else. The gay rights movement is a big business and a big part of the Democrat Get Out the Vote campaign. But they're also big movements. So when they got all their gay rights, the Democrats didn't want to lose this lobby effort. And the millionaires that run these gay rights organizations didn't want to shut down because they make a lot of money. So they created this transgender thing. They created this new victim class that they're trying to keep the movement going. And it's not the same as gay. All the gay rights, like they talk about Harvey Milk, right? Whatever Harvey Milk ever advocated for long ago was achieved. And no one cares anymore.
Right.
If you want to shock your parents, come out of the closet as straight. They'll be shocked. Mom and Dad, I'm straight. Right? You understand what I mean?
Wrong.
It's not even shocking anymore.
I do.
So they've created this.
To be honest,
they're trying to keep it going with the trans. It's not the same thing.
Right.
All right, hey, listen, I got to move on. I got a lot of other people on hold, but appreciate the call and Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas, Brian. Thank you.
All right, take care. Yeah, I'm taking some more calls. I'm glad I did this Christmas show. Thanks for joining me, guys. We did Christmas last night at the house. So, all right, let's go. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Good morning, Conservative Doug. Merry Christmas.
Hey, what's up?
Hey, first thing I want to say is your picture of Mega Christmas is fantastic. I love that. You did a good job.
Thank you very much.
Anyway, the best gift that the world could have is President Trump. I mean, the guy is, what a job he's doing. The gas prices are down. He wants to get rid of income tax. He wants to get rid of real estate tax. Prices of groceries going down. Perfect example of standing rib roast a couple months ago was about $19 a pound. In Publix, of all places, is not known for low prices. It was under $10 a pound now.
Wow.
So prices are coming down. Prices are coming down bigger, and if it's coming down in Publix, you know it's going to be coming down everywhere. He's doing a great job. The whole world should be happy he's our president.
Now, by the way, yesterday, conservative Doug called in and talked about that he bought a car that was owned by Mr. Frank Sinatra. And Steve, I guess Steve said he didn't believe you, but I believed you because I know you. I believe you. But you sent me a bunch of pictures of Frank Sinatra's car.
That's right.
It's a pretty cool car.
Yep.
But I still question.
I
still question your decision to take the. I understand you had to change the upholstery, but to take the steering wheel out, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Send me a picture of the steering wheel if you still have it. Did you send me one of the steering wheel?
I have it. Yeah, I got it. It's just an all leather steering wheel.
No, the one that you took out.
If you see the picture.
The one that Frank Sinatra had his hands on. Did you send me a picture of that?
Okay, I'll take a picture of that today and send it over to you.
If you still have it.
Yeah, so all black leather steering wheel in pretty good shape too, but it's just not as pretty as the one I put on the cars. You see. Yeah. Anyway. It's a collectible. I'll never sell it. And
that was a great car.
I was thinking about selling it one time because it basically sits in my garage. I drive it very rarely, and I told my wife I should sell it. No, you're not going to sell that. We'll give it to our kids.
But you know what? I went to last year. I went to that big car auction at the South Florida Fairgrounds that the big auto auctioneers do. What's it called? They travel the whole country.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm talking? I can't remember the name of the company that does it.
Yeah. I don't know the name.
They're famous auctioneer, and they had all the. I saw like 1980s era Ford Broncos were selling at auction for over $250,000. I mean, it was crazy, and they
went crazy.
And it's crazy. And they had the Barrett Jackson auction. Yeah, I went to the Barrett Jackson auction. It was amazing. They had the Trans Am that Burt Reynolds himself drove around Jupiter before he died, obviously. You know, and all these great cars. Yeah. And I enjoyed it. I went and I made a YouTube video that's on my other YouTube channel that I vlog on, the Barrett Auto Auction at the South Florida Fairgrounds. But there's something I picked up on these old cars because they had before they came out on the auction, they would line up outside and they would get detailed before they went up on the auction. And I went into the line where they were washing the cars and everything, and I realized something about a lot of these collectible cars. You can't drive them all the time. Mechanically, they're crap. They look pretty and they're collectibles, I guess, and people pay a lot of money for them, but they don't run that well, a lot of them. They basically are almost pushing them out on the auction block sometimes. Like if you drove it every day, it wouldn't last long. A lot of these big money. Is that true in your?
That's well, 100% true. You know, like anything, you buy a brand new car. A couple of years later, it's starting to feel its age. You know, the more you use the car, the more you destroy.
Because I thought these cars, when they got refurbished, you had all new engines and they were like new cars, but that's really not the case. They don't run like a brand new car off the lot.
Yeah, well, mine, I put a brand new motor, racing motor and everything. I was into going as fast as I could for some dumb reason. Yeah. And then I took off I had a double pumper Harley carburetor. I took that off and I put a regular carburetor on it now. I'm more conservative in my driving as well. If you
went to like a local car show that like somebody had in front of some restaurant, you know, sometimes restaurants do that locally, and you had a sign up if you had the hood up, and had a sign in there that said, this car belonged to Frank Sinatra, you could charge people to take pictures in front of it. You know what I mean?
You're probably right.
Yeah.
You know, I never was. I got a receipt from Frank Sinatra that the auction gave me. And I was like, I don't know. Sometimes auctioneers are not quite honest. So I was always skeptical if it was really his car, but I checked it out, and certainly he owned a Jensen. Now I'm not 99% sure it was mine, but I wouldn't swear in court that it was my.
I gotta tell you, you must be like so rich, because let me tell you why. You get Frank Sinatra's car, you tear out all the stuff that has Frank Sinatra's sweat and God only knows what other things from his body there with all the chicks he hooked up with all the time. You take all that out, including the steering wheel, and then you start telling, I'm not 100% sure it belonged to Frank Sinatra. Maybe the auctioneer lied. I mean, all the stuff you're doing is devaluing the car. Right?
Yeah, well...
It just seems bizarre that you would do, you know what I mean?
Yeah, you're right. You're right. But I just, I have this not trusting some auctioneers. I was an auctioneer and don't trust other auctioneers because I know there's a lot of corruption. But anyway, I'm pretty sure it was all real. But I got a pretty good deal on it. But
even if it didn't belong to Frank Sinatra, it's a pretty bad car. It's an awesome car. It's a badass car, no doubt.
Oh yeah, man, certainly is. I just give you one more quick story about collectibles. I was in Carnegie Hall, all right, and Carnegie Hall was the first place the Beatles ever played. Now, my guitar player's father was the manager of Carnegie Hall. He says, "Oh, yeah, well, I have about 100 pictures upstairs with the Beatles signing." I says, "Can I have one?" "Oh, you can have them all." I said, "Yeah, back then." This is maybe
oh my gosh,
18 years ago.
Oh my gosh.
He says, I knew they were probably worth about $2,000-$3,000 back then. Who knows what the hell they're worth now? Anyway, so he goes to get the keys to this closet that he has stored. He opened it up, and there's nothing but air. He said, "Oh, somebody took all the pictures." I said, "Oh man, too bad."
Oh,
so somebody, I don't know if they took
Al
them and
Capone's
threw them
vault
away,
story, or maybe he was jerking your chain.
No, he certainly had them because that's where they played. And they all signed.
He got robbed.
The Beatles signed the first place they've ever played. That would have been. I would have loved to have that. And for RCA Studios gave me Elvis Presley's signed In the Ghetto, and I had it in my house. And I used to have some wild parties, and all of a sudden it's gone. So somebody stole my Elvis Presley signed In the Ghetto demo.
Oh my goodness, that's a very. In fact, in that Elvis Presley movie a couple years ago, a big scene in that movie is him singing that song on television, In the Ghetto.
Yeah, man.
That's a great song. It's not so well known, but I don't think you could. They probably consider it racist today, but it's a great song.
Yeah, that's a great song. I mean, I was about 15 minutes too late to meet Elvis Presley. I would have been loved to be able to meet him. But anyway, things happened. I had this thing. I stopped having parties at my house after that. I said, I don't get that Elvis Presley back. No more parties.
Oh, you had a party and someone stole it.
Somebody stole it, man. Yeah. First of all, it was like an open house.
I knew a guy that was into collectibles, sports collectibles. He had very valuable sports collectibles, and he had house parties, and people would steal stuff. But he said, he had so many collectibles, it would be 6 months, and then maybe he would notice it was missing. So you know what I mean. I was going to tell you this with Steve. I went into an open house in Miami. All right, you just stopped in. This guy was a doctor for all the celebrities, and he had collectibles filled with his whole house. So I walk into one room, and what is it? Babe Ruth's T-shirt and his bat. Oh my goodness!
Now I'm there all by myself. The realtor left. I said, "What is this guy nuts? Anybody can steal this stuff." Anyway, long story short, he said, "I'll give." I was going to buy the house. I said, "But I want to collect all." No, you can't. Turns out that Babe Ruth's shirt went on auction and sold for over $1 million.
Yeah.
So,
and they probably could have gotten more. They probably could have gotten more. Because he hasn't worn his shirt. He doesn't wear shirts anymore, Babe Ruth, and he doesn't sign anymore either.
This guy had everything. Muhammad Ali's gloves. He had a billion baseballs. Everything. Unbelievable. Some people got some collectibles that they fill the house with, and who knows what they're worth.
You know, William, I don't talk about this too much, but William Youngerman deals with collectibles too. We don't talk about it because, you know, a lot of collectibles people think are valuable are not. So, you know, I don't want to get him overloaded with people with their junk that they think's worth a lot. But he deals with high-end collectibles like that. Very high-end ones. Like the ones that go to, you know, the big auctions, you know. All right, got to go, but thanks for the call, Doug. All right, Merry Christmas, Merry Christmas. All right, so, by the way, Merry Christmas to everybody. If you're just, I showed this at the beginning of the show. I'm going to show this again. My wife is the greatest gift giver you've ever known. She buys the best gifts for every occasion. She got me a lot of really super cool stuff. But she got me, this is going to be something I'm going to have for the rest of my life. And she got me one of those Trump watches. And look, this is the ones that President Trump does the commercials for. The Trump watch. And when President Trump says, when you wear it, people will know what it is and what it represents. And this is super cool. I was not expecting it at all. And you'll see this a lot because this is going to be my watch. I'll be wearing this a lot. I don't really wear watches, but I'm going to wear this. And then on the back of it, it has an etching of the president. Again, I don't know how well you guys could see this on the camera because it's behind the watch. And it, on the back, it has the president. And it's a really amazing watch. And I was thinking I'm going to go to the jeweler tomorrow. I need to get maybe a link taken out of it or two. But I've been wearing it during the show, and it is loose, but maybe it's better loose than tight. You know what I mean? Maybe I've not had a watch that had a band like this with links on it since I was a kid. And I don't know. So I don't think I'm going to go to the jeweler tomorrow. I don't know. Do I want it loose or do I want it tight? And it's kind of not, it's not falling off, so maybe I want to keep it loose. Or maybe I just get one link taken out, I don't know. But it's a great gift. This is a family heirloom. And so I'll wear this till I'm dead, and then my daughter will get it and pass it down. I mean, this is like the best gift. I mean, I'm telling you, I told my wife, I said, I would rather have that than a Rolex. Okay, not that a Rolex is within our price range, but you know what I mean? I would much rather have this than a Rolex. All right, let's take some more Christmas morning calls. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hi, my name is Brian. I'm from Upper Arlington, Ohio.
Oh, all right. Well, I'm Brian from Ohio, too, although I live in Florida now. Where are you in Ohio?
Upper Arlington.
You got to be kidding me. Holy smokes.
No,
my grandparents lived in Upper Arlington. And my
I know you told me that before.
I told you,
he was a police officer.
Yeah, my grandfather was a police officer at the river, at the police station at the river there.
Greg's River, the Greg's Dam.
Greg's Dam. That's right. Is it Greg's or Griggs Dam? I can't remember. It's been a long time. Griggs Dam.
Greg.
Yeah.
Griggs.
Yeah, my grandfather. Yeah. He had a police boat with sirens. He used to fish dead bodies out of the river all the time.
Yeah, he was probably busting me and my buddies drinking out there and water skiing.
Only if it was
anyway.
Only if it was in the 50s, 60s, and 70s. He's been gone a long time. He retired in like 78 or something.
Okay, we were a little
maybe
bit
your grandparents. Maybe he busted your grandparents drinking.
Maybe. What part of Columbus did you live in? Or go to school in?
I went to, now again, I've lived in Florida since I was, I started 5th grade in Florida. So I went through 4th grade and I went to a few places. I went to, the last school I went to in Columbus was, hold on, let me answer these lines that are coming in, hold on. And again, I forgot what line he's on. All right, are you back with me, Arlington?
Yeah, I am.
Okay, the last school I went to there was West Broad Street Elementary, which is still there.
Oh, okay, got it.
And I also went to, I went to Beatty Park. They bussed us. I lived on the west side, and in the 70s, during the busing era, when they were desegregating the schools, they bussed us all the way across town I lived right down I went to school. I went to school at Valley View Elementary too. Before I went to
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
And
okay, Valley View. So I was going to school at Valley View Elementary for first and second grade, and then they brought in busing. So in third grade, they bused us all the way across. And Columbus, by the way, is as big as Miami. They bused us across town, and I went to Beatty Park Elementary, which was a.
Don't know.
There were no white kids there, so they had to bus us in, so they could desegregate the schools. It was awful. But yeah, West Broad Street Elementary is where I went to school, and that school's still in operation. It's over 100 years old now. That school.
Oh, amazing!
It was old when I went there.
Yeah, fortunately, I was in Catholic school, so I got to miss all the busing activity.
But from what my mom visits every once in a while, and my family there, they tell me Columbus is a lot of it's gone down the tubes, but maybe not.
Yeah.
The liberals.
Yeah, parts of it has for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's a fair Somali population that's here too.
The Somalis are taking over. Oh my goodness. Oh,
yeah, it's bad.
That's pretty bad. The Somalis.
But my wife and I,
my dad. I don't know. How old are you? How old are you?
65.
Oh, you're okay. You may be old enough. You're younger than my dad, right? But my dad and my aunts and uncles, they went to high school at Central High School in downtown that they turned into COSI.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's COSI now.
COSI, yeah.
Yeah.
COSI used to be down. Do you remember when COSI was in that other building downtown, across from the first Wendy's?
It was on Broad Street. That's like
across from the very first Wendy's that Dave Thomas worked at.
That's right.
That's right. That's
yeah.
Anyway,
had like a glass front on the front of it. But anyway.
Yep.
I just wanted to wish you a Merry Christmas. My wife and I are getting ready to fly down to Florida later this afternoon after we.
Oh, where in Florida are you going to?
Family.
Where in Florida?
We're going to fly into Orlando and then end up in the Cocoa Beach, Cape Canaveral area. I have an Airbnb.
If you've not done it, take the tour of Kennedy Space Center. Have you done that?
Yes, many times.
Oh,
yes, love it.
It's like the Smithsonian.
Like I said, we have an Airbnb there, and we have an Airbnb down there, and it's open, so we're going to head down.
Oh, cool. Cocoa Beach is nice. It's nice. It's nice in Orlando too. But it's that part of Florida is too cold for me. Than it is in this part. It's not the tropics.
Yeah, I understand what you mean. It does get cold. You're absolutely right.
Yeah, it's not the tropics.
It's a hit or miss on the temperature-wise.
Yeah. Well, listen,
yeah.
Columbus, Ohio memories.
Thank you.
All right, take care. All right, take care. He knows my old hoods that I was up until the 4th grade. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Good morning, Brian. It's JJ from Mass.
Hey, JJ, what's up?
Well, just a Merry Christmas to you and to everybody. It's your show today is like obviously Christmas, a very religious day, but it's a day of memories, and you're just all the memories. I'm listening to you talk about your memories, and we in Ohio, and the story about the guy for American wine. And he says Thunderbird. That's just it's those memories that are made.
That's hilarious.
Especially on a day, Christmas as a kid. I think everybody thinks back to, I can see in my mind, I can picture the tree and all the presents and just the snowbanks and all the different things. Everybody, the older you are, the more memories you have of Christmas.
That's true.
It's just a beautiful time.
Yep.
My dad was just one memory that I had because because of the Thunderbird. My dad was I might have been 5, maybe 6. He said he was sick and he coughed, and he said he needed some of his medicine, some Dr. Billy. Have you ever heard of Dr. Billy, Brian?
No.
It's actually Dr. Billy is William Penn. He called it Dr. Billy. Whiskey.
Oh, whiskey.
He grabbed him. He grabbed it. He said he was sick. Did a fake cough. Well, a week after that, I was sick. I was 5. I was sick, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to be a big boy. I'm going to go get some of Dad's medicine. And I remember unscrewing the cap, and I sniffed it first, and I was like, oh my God. I put the cap right back on it, and I just thought to myself, my dad must have been really, really sick to drink that. That stuff's horrible. But it was William. It was, just stories like that.
Yeah, it's
I
funny.
think of
when PJ told those British guys about the Great American Wine Thunderbird, and for those of you that don't know, Thunderbird's the chosen best choice wine for the homeless people. Yep. And I just wonder if they went back to the UK and maybe they drank. Oh, I met this guy on this cruise, and this is the Great American Wine. Maybe they like it. Maybe they're drinking Thunderbird over in England.
Maybe they still are.
Yeah, exactly.
I saw somebody. It's funny when you said that. The first thing I thought of was like, yeah, Thunderbird or Mad Dog 2020. And somebody in the chat room. I saw somebody in the chat room. I just every once in a while I'll look over at the chat and see it. Just take a little picture of it. And I saw MD, M/D 2020. And somebody's thinking the same thing I was. Mad Dog 2020 from when I was a kid. That stuff was it was candy. But
I used to, when I was a younger man, I like a lot of guys when you're, I used to drink heavily because that's what you do when you can do. And I could drink straight Goldschlager like nobody's business. I mean,
Goldschlager.
Oh my goodness. Goldschlager. Goldschlager. Yeah, but I had an instance where I drank too much, and I of course, my body, gave everything
repelled
back.
It, yes.
And yes, if I just see a bottle of Goldschlager now somewhere, I get physically ill.
Yeah, I think a lot of people that's happened to them with that, or like Jägermeister.
Oh, Jägermeister's another one. Oh, Jägermeister. I used to be able to. Jägermeister, I had the same experience. I used to be able to. I think I mentioned this. I went out to lunch with my buddies, Dr. Appleton and Tom Laporta.
Uh-huh.
And Dr. Appleton's a wine guy, and I don't know anything about. I'm not a big fan of wine, And if I have wine, please give me peanut, white wines. I'm not into wine. I like But anyway, so they're talking about fancy wines. I don't know anything about it, and Tom Laporte says, "What wine do you like?" I said, I'm not really into wine. He's like, "What do you drink?" I'm like, martinis. He's like, "Really?" I was like, "Yes, martinis." He was like, if I'm going to drink, I want to feel it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't drink.
Yeah, wines. I spent a little bit of time in the food, in Italian restaurants, management and bartending, and and you have to know more than a little bit about wine. But I was never really. I know Santa Margherita or Barolos, and there's all different types of wine. You're supposed to. Yeah, but I was never. I'm just not that. I'm a mountain boy from the mountains of New Hampshire.
My other weakness is tequila. I love tequila. On the cruises, if I'm not drinking martinis or a Corona, it'll usually be. If I order a Corona, I'll that'll be the chaser to the tequila shot. And I don't. During the. I tell people on the cruise is like my Rom Springer that the Amish have.
Yeah, I got you.
I get 1 week a year, and not that I let loose too much, but a few cruises ago, I met these two guys. They go on our cruises, and they're two of my best friends in the world, Mike and Dan. And Dan actually met his wife on the cruise. They were both listeners. You've heard me mention.
Sweet.
His wife. I went to high school with her, and she came on one of the cruises. And we found out quickly. We went to high school together. She was a couple years older than me, and she was with all the cool kids. I wasn't in her clique back then, But anyway,
yep.
So Dan and Mike and I, we just had a week of, partying, and we're drinking a lot of tequila. And one night, we're all together, almost our whole cruise group. We're in the nightclub late one night, and I was like, well, why don't we all get tequila shots and just do them together? And Mike, Dan, and I went to the bar and ordered 20 shots of tequila. And they gave
any particular brand or what?
Well, because drinks are included. Because drinks are included, I always get whatever the top shelf they got at the bar.
Top shelf stuff.
Whatever the top shelf stuff is. If you drink top shelf liquor, you don't get hangovers, by the way. And our whole group, we did tequila shots together. Now, I don't want you guys to think I'm a wino or anything on the cruise, but I don't get too crazy But
you're cutting, you're kicking back. Listen, you gotta let it loose a little bit. So that's good.
Right.
I think that's great.
That's right. That's right. Surrounded by my friends and no videotaping allowed. No, I'm kidding. It's fine. It's fine. We have a good time.
Yeah.
You should come on the cruise.
Well,
you should come on one of the cruises, man. You'd have such a great time.
Yeah, I probably would.
You'd be like a celebrity because they would all know you from your calls.
Well, I like myself back in the day. As far as I would get in like grooves of particular drinks that I would have for a while. I drank nothing but perfect golden margaritas, which you would make with 1800.
Yeah.
Make with 1800 Grand Marnier, Cointreau. I always had a little splash of orange juice, and I just but then I'd move on to something else. Because I was into, I started bartending fairly early and worked my way up. I was a hotel brat. I worked in a lot of different hotels and just did a lot of things. I had a management, the wine and the food and beverage manager. His name was Angelo Accarino.
Uh-huh.
A little short Italian guy, about 5 foot tall, and he looked like he was 120 years old. And he worked probably about 100 hours like you. 100.
Yep.
You keep working 120 hours, you're going to look like him, except you probably won't speak Italian. But this guy used to tell me, if you want to be in the hotel, if you want to be a manager, you got to work in every part of the hotel. Work in all the parts.
That's true.
So when you started out when you talk about as a board op, you start off, you just get into the radio station, and basically that's like starting off in a restaurant. You're the dishwasher.
Yes.
You're doing all that different stuff, but you learn so much from doing. It's like you and then Steve. You were talking about how Steve took you on his wing, and these other guys took you under and you learn from the best. You become the best. You don't become the best by reading from a book. From a college professor who's never done it.
You learn by doing. That's what these Gen Zs and millennials, all they do are make plans with their Notion boards and all this crap, as opposed to just going out and doing stuff.
I used to, I had a dirt bike. I could take the thing apart and put it back together. I used to do that with all kinds of stuff. And my brother was I'm the youngest in my family. My brother was, who was in the military. We could take a car, we could take it apart and put it back together. But, it's a hell of I could change my own oil. I would gap the plugs. I had a Trans Am like Smokey and the Bandit when I was younger. It was my brother's car anyway, I bought it from him on a really good price because he was my brother. But it's just a lot easier to take it to the garage to get the oil changed. You get,
this thing about, oil change. You heard me talking a few weeks back about that guy that I saw with his wife that didn't know how to put air in his tire at the gas station. You heard me talk about this?
Yes. Yeah.
I felt so bad. If the late great Rush Limbaugh were still with us, Rush, I promise you, Rush could change the tire. He could check the oil, check the transmission, knew a lot about cars. May not be I'm not a mechanic, but I know stuff. Do you think Ben Shapiro and Mark Levin could change a tire or check the oil on their car?
I'd ask Ben Shapiro to go into the heart. I'd ask him to go get me some blinker fluid, and go on in there, go on into the.
I bet you Trump could, though. I bet you Trump could.
Get some blinker fluid.
I saw a video about a year ago of Trump, and this is obviously before he was president. He was driving his car, which I don't know what it was. Like a Cadillac or something. He had Melania in the front seat. He's got the radio blasted and Barron's in the back seat. He's driving through New York. I couldn't believe it. Yeah. I bet you President Trump could check the oil and change a tire on a car. Bet you.
Yeah, I said to somebody the other day that they were talking about E. Jean Carroll and saying some crazy stuff, and I just said, Donald Trump is the man with the golden gun. E. Jean Carroll is the cat lady with the painted trees.
Yes.
I'll go with the golden. I'll go with 007. I'll go with the Dawn any day of the week. I love a president. We're blessed to have him. It's a blessed day. And I can't believe that you have been on this show for this long this morning. I listened to every word of you and Richie, and I almost went and got some popcorn. So I think you might have some other people to talk to today, maybe.
Yeah, maybe. I'm surprised. I wasn't expecting to get any calls on Christmas Day. And I apologize for using the F word earlier, but I thought it needed to for the effect of what happened.
It was appropriate. It was appropriate. You know, no apologies needed. I mean, it is a blessed day. I mean, but at the same time, again, memories. It's just everybody. I want them to think about the good memories they had. I think about my mom's potato fudge that she used to make.
That's right.
You ever had ambrosia, Brian?
No.
Ambrosia.
Never had ambrosia.
The fruit and the cherries. Well, you can look up all the different ingredients. There's cream cheese in it, and cherries, and mandarin oranges, and crushed pineapple, all this stuff, and heavy cream. It's delicious. It's like manna from heaven. But my mom, she made it when I was a kid. My mom, she called it gobbledygook, and it's such a delicious dessert. But I'm 62 years old, and I still call it. I don't call it ambrosia. But if I said gobbledygook to people, they'd look at me like I had 5 heads.
Yep.
But every family has stories like that. They have different, memories, and it's just a blessed day, Christmas, to think back on all those memories. Think about Christ. Like Richie said, today is a day of peace.
That's right.
Love everybody today.
But do you know? I want to tell you something. We had a lot of calls here. This is been going for about 3 hours, right? And by the way, I appreciate everybody for joining me today, because I love this watch. This Trump watch my wife got me is amazing. But you guys are a gift too. That you're out there watching and supporting and everything. But I forgot what I was going to say. I forgot what I was going to say.
Good Lord. The watch. When you said the watch.
I said the watch. I said the thing. I was going to say something. You were talking about the mess. I forgot.
Richie.
I forgot what the heck I was going to say. Can you believe it? Oh, my goodness.
Brian, it happens to me every day.
What were we talking about? I forgot what I was going to say. I was going to make an important point.
I mentioned ambrosia. I mentioned food.
Yeah, okay.
Richie.
This is probably not it. But if this was like, I could have faked it and pretended it and just transited into this, and you guys would not have known that I had a lapse. But no, the reason I brought up Ben Shapiro and Mark Levin, I wanted to get back into things and stick with me, because I want to talk to you about this. Okay, Megyn Kelly is under fire for saying something that I've said recently. And Megyn, what the story says is, this is in the New York Post, Megyn Kelly blasts Ben Shapiro and Barry Weiss, who's the lady that's heading CBS now, claims they are making anti-Semites. And I've told you, I've said many times over the past year or so, and I've talked about it this last week, that Ben Shapiro is a major cause of anti-Semitism in the country today, and I want to explain what I mean by that, and I don't know if this is exactly what Megyn Kelly is saying, because she threw in Barry Weiss for some reason from CBS, and this is certainly not the case. Ben Shapiro is, I'm a strong supporter of Israel, and when it comes to Israel, I'm 100% in agreement with Ben Shapiro. However, he is not a good advocate or spokesperson for anything, because he's not likable. All MAGA people know that he is a never-Trumper. He wrote a column in the first campaign, the title of which was all over the place, and it was "Why I'll Never Vote for Donald Trump," and he wrote a whole column about it. Okay, and he's not a likable person. He doesn't seem very nice, and because he's so unlikable, people are transferring their dislike of him to Israel. Do you understand what I mean? He's bad for the brand.
Yes.
He's bad for the brand.
Yes, he is.
Does that make sense?
Well, the biggest, 1,000%, Brian. It is the most important thing. In quite honestly, you can, it's sales in a way. It's sales. Yeah. And if somebody likes you, they'll buy anything from you.
Yeah.
I mean, they will. People, if they like you, they trust you, and they'll adopt and/or they'll lean towards your opinion. But when the problem with Ben Shapiro is he may be intellectually right on a fair amount of things.
Yeah.
But he comes across as mean in a way. He comes across as,
I think what he comes across as is he believes he's smarter than everybody else.
Yes, mean, condescending.
Very condescending.
There's a whole package. There's a whole package to it, and it's just people when they get done talking with him, they just don't like him. If you don't like somebody, you don't. You're not really gonna. You're not gonna follow and or believe the things that they believe. And he may be. I liked watching him. When you have a snarky little kid who thinks he knows everything about everything, and all he is brainwashed. And Ben Shapiro comes up there and plays whack-a-mole with him, and that's great, but do it in a way that you don't come across like
and Mark Levin's a similar thing too. And
the arrogance turns people off. It just destroys. People don't like that.
You can I'll give you an example. Rush Limbaugh used to do this, talent on loan from God. And then on Fridays, on Open Phone Fridays is the day that we turn the show over to rank amateurs. That wasn't arrogance. That was sarcasm, and it was, you know what I mean?
Sarcasm, yes.
But,
a little bit of humor, a touch of humor.
Yeah.
I mean, like Charlie Kirk would have discussions with people, would completely, disagree with the things they were saying. But when they were done, that one person might be a little bit pissed off about, getting slammed, sort of, kind of, but in a soft way. But all the other people that were listening admired Charlie Kirk for his pleasantness of the disagreement. It's almost like when I was in the hospitality, when I worked at this one hotel, I at the end of the season, I got a plaque from the guys that worked with me. They just gave me this. It was kind of like a joke, and it just said that I knew how to tell people to go to hell in such a way that they look forward to the trip. They did, people. I could imagine people halfway home being like, wait a minute, that guy was actually. That little crap, that little shit. I can't believe they figured it out later. But But I would be very sarcastic.
Well, let me tell you.
Listen,
obviously Israel is behind Ben and Mark Levin. And I'm not saying that in a bad way. I'm not saying they're controlled by Israel or the Jews, but obviously they have a relationship with Israel and Netanyahu. Tim Pool a few months ago let it out of the bag that he was invited with some other big conservatives to this event, and Netanyahu came out. Israel picked two unlikable people to be the spokesperson for their country. I'll give you an example. When Crocodile Dundee was the biggest movie in the world, and it's hard to describe. In the days when the summer blockbuster existed, Paul Hogan became the spokesperson for the Tourism Board of Australia. Remember, he used to have TV commercials. You understand what I mean? He was a likable guy. And this has nothing to do with the fact that they're Jews, but there are likable Jews out there that people would listen to. Ben Shapiro, in particular, is not a likable guy, and I believe Candace Owens is nuts, but this anti-Semitism thing that she's done. I talked about this when she first started. I think she had a lot of problems with Ben Shapiro and other people around him, work-wise.
And transferred it.
And she transferred her anger at that to, I'll give you another example.
Part of it's that, Brian. I mean, part of it's that.
It is that.
With Candace. Candace is such a...
She's nuts.
God, it's such a waste. It was such a beautiful story. I mean, I looked at her discovery that she was basically being used and abused. Listen, she was... the young Democrats, especially black Democrats or brown, but they're used by people like Al Sharpton and the machine of the Democrat Party. And once you realize that you've been a prostitute for the Democrat Party, that they're just using the hell out of you, and you have that epiphany. It's like being reborn. I can only imagine, like a Christian being reborn. And it's just a weight lifted, like, oh my God, I know the truth now. And she had such great promise. She did such great things, and then she blew it. And then she just lost her cookies, man. Everything is a freaking conspiracy story. When she went CSI on the on the French president and the wife or the husband,
give me a break.
I don't care.
First
I don't
off,
care about that. And now the French Secret Service are trying to kill her. The French is trying to kill her. This is trying to kill her. Everybody's trying to kill her. I mean, it's such a friggin' disappointment.
The thing with Ben Shapiro and Mark Levin too, but I think it's more Ben Shapiro. Ben Shapiro at Turning Point last week is basically standing up there and saying, you're MAGA, you're not. You're you know what I mean? And Megyn Kelly is doing this fence sitter. She says, I don't support what Candace Owens said, but I support her right to say it. You have the right to go to the south side of Chicago and start screaming the N-word at black people. But is that the right thing to do?
Sure.
Would you support that, Megyn Kelly? Their First Amendment right to do that?
It's just a little bit. I mean, the stuff with. I mean, the Charlie Kirk and all the different conspiracy theories, and this is like an Occam's razor thing to me. I mean, the kid that ran across the friggin' roof is the guy that shot him. Was he like trained by the CIA and all this other shit? No. Was he emotionally? Did the environment that the deep state create make this guy a nut job? Absolutely. Our culture and all the liberal insanity in the schools and having everybody to have 56 genders. And
well, hold on. Let me answer the other lines, and then I'll finish with you. But hold on. Okay.
Sure.
Hold on a second. And I just lost what. Okay. All right. Are you back? No. Wrong line. Okay. No. Okay. Got you back now. Okay. I got this new phone I have. I told you it doesn't have the numbers of the lines on it, so I have to remember by look. And I have more lines than
you got a lot of buttons.
All the radio stations I ever worked at combined. I have a big, huge board here. Hold on, I know what line you're on now, and I just don't pay attention. But he was, J.D. Vance was directly talking to Ben Shapiro about this purity test of who's MAGA, who's a Republican. And I'm not saying, Ronald Reagan famously said that if you're with us 80% of the time, you're in the Big Ten of the Republican Party. And I'm not saying it's okay to be anti-Israel. What I'm saying is when you have a celebrity spokesperson, you have to have a celebrity spokesperson that people trust and like. And if people don't like you, you're doing damage to the brand you're endorsing. And his dislikable personality is turning people against Israel. And if he really loved Israel as much as he says, he would, maybe he's too arrogant to admit this, that he's not likable. Who wants to think that they're not likable, I guess, right? But
that's a tough thing I think that would be a tough thing for him to do. It would be, if he did something like that, that would be amazing. I think backing off, I mean, I think he, we're all sort of creatures of habit and so forth, but I think he is maybe used to the spotlight, used to that, and maybe he admires it.
I can't think of a comparison of what he's doing to damage the brand that would be I can't think of like an example.
And he doesn't really want. I don't think he wants to damage it, Brian. But at the same time, I think there's a fight. There's a like the balance, Lady Justice. There's a scale going back and forth. I don't want to give up the limelight here. It would be better, but no, I can't because I got to be out in front. I got to be on the stage. But it would. He's just not. He's just not likable, and without being liked, everything else fades away.
But I don't think that's what Megyn Kelly's talking about, because she threw Barry Weiss from CBS into that, which is not the same thing.
I didn't understand that one.
Megyn Kelly, what she's, because I know what she's doing, and maybe this is what she's doing. The reason that Candace Owens became famous for 3 reasons. One, she's really good looking, right? She's good looking. She, 2, she's black conservative, okay, and she came
black conservatives probably,
but you got to be good looking. I mean, if you look like Letitia and you're black conservative, people aren't going to pay as much attention as if you're hot. And then thirdly, what Candace Owens did was troll celebrities, and she would start criticizing very famous.
Yeah, Jay-Z.
And they would respond to
listen to the music, but
and they would respond to. So Megyn Kelly, I don't know who's her advisors or anything. That's what she's doing. She's trying to inject herself with people in the news, whether it's Candace or now Barry Weiss, from CBS, and try to elevate. You got to understand. She replaced Bill O'Reilly at Fox News, not Tucker, okay?
Yeah.
And she was at NBC News. She was making $10 million plus a year. She had a whole staff, a glam squad, and everything else. Now I don't want to say she's like me because she's very famous and she has a bigger budget and all, but she's got a big budget. She's trying to start a podcasting network. So she has Mark Halperin and Link Lauren working for her. She's got a team of people who do her production, do her YouTube channel. She's got a producer. She's got her best friend that does a podcast on her network too, on her channel. She's got to pay all these people, and she's trying to inject herself.
Trying to get up on equal. Yeah, she's trying to get up on equal. She wants to get on that playing field. I mean, you can think of it as like,
it's trolling.
You know, you've got the professional, and then you got the college, and you got junior high.
This thing happened at 60 minutes.
She's trying to be equivalent. She's trying to get on equivalent ground.
Yes.
She's trying to grow
like
to be. She wants to be in the same.
This scandal happened with 60 Minutes. I don't know if it's a scandal, but Barry Weiss told them they couldn't run the thing on the El Salvadorian prison. So, that's so what Megyn Kelly is saying. Oh, that's trending right now. Let me start commenting on Barry Weiss, and then I'm going to be in the news cycle. And then you understand what I mean? That's what she's doing.
Yeah.
It's called clout chasing. And
shiny object, yes.
And
I agree.
And it's and I think she's desperate. I think she's overextended herself financially with her company. It's not going as well as she thinks it should, and she's doing desperate things to be relevant to try to get attention and views. And
the money thing, Brian, listen, I agree. I think this. I think you're pretty much spot on. The money, it may not be money, but I think instead of money, it may be more of an emotional. You talked earlier in your show about the one girl. You weren't in that group of people. You weren't in that clique, and it may be more. I don't think it's necessarily the money with her, but it is more of the emotional clique. She wants to be in that top, that top clique of elites. And if she doesn't grow, it could be that. But then, listen, it could be money too. But I find it hard to believe, for people, because you can only, listen, if you're making $10 million a year and you work all the time, it's hard for people to blow that much money.
But she's, it is not. There are a lot of people that have millions of dollars that are.
Yes, you know what? It's
broke.
me. I think like when I think about other people, I think like me, and I'm like, there's just no way you could blow all that money. Okay,
yes,
I will submit that. Yes, they can, but there are certain people I just can't. When you're around financial advisors, like when I'm trying to think of the guy, he's a big man on Fox on the business. What? Oh, not Cavuto. I despised Cavuto.
I couldn't stand Cavuto.
He's a big black man. He's bigger than Tyrus, and he's very well spoken, soft spoken. He was on the street for a while. He does a show for money. He used to. I don't even know if he's still there. But I used to track him in his
with the fancy suits.
Suggest. Yeah, kind of crazy, but yes.
Yeah. What's his? He's on Fox Business. He's on Fox Business.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's his? Somebody in the
Smart
channel.
Guy.
I can't think. I know who you're talking
Smart.
about. Yeah, he's the one. He had an affair with a white woman who was famous in the news for a while. Oh. I haven't had much coffee today, guys, and I was up late. That's why my mind is short on names. Charles Payne.
Charles Payne, yes.
And his suits have become his identity, and he looks like a clown in those suits because they've gotten out of control.
He's got some interesting suits, but his advice about it's just when I listen, like people in my family, I gave up giving advice to people about money. I just stopped doing it because most people, number one, they wouldn't take the advice, and most of my family, I remember one Christmas. I was home, and I would call my mother. The only person I kept in touch with in my family directly was my mother, and that was like once, twice a month. I would call her and let her know that I was okay. I mean, I might have been in Curacao, I could have been in Costa Rica, I could have been in Peru, Argentina, you name it. I was all over Latin America, South America. The only place I haven't been to in Latin and South America is Belize. I've got relatives in Vietnam. I've got relatives in Germany. All over the place. But I would keep in touch with my mom. and they didn't even know. My family did. One Christmas I bought a brand new car, 2 cars, one for my mom, one for my older sister, and a truck for my dad. And I had them. They were driven up the road, and like, what is it you do for work again?
Yeah.
They had to just have no idea.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
I just, and now I'm just, listen, I'm just, I'm.
Well,
I'm
let me
just
tell you
part
what
of the
happens
family.
to these people. If you're on hold, stand by. We're having a. By the way, I remembered what I was going to say, which I won't forget. A minute ago, I'll tell you in a minute.
Good.
This what I'm talking about with Megyn Kelly. Do you watch much YouTube, or just me because you listen
Mostly
to
YouTube, yeah.
Okay. Last year you may have seen a thing where there was a trend on YouTube. A lot of big YouTubers were quitting YouTube. People that had like multi-million numbers of subs. Okay.
Yep.
And hold on a second. I just got a text from somebody that oh, that was nice. I'm gonna text them back. Somebody, I tell you, I've gotten more text messages today and yesterday. People wishing me Merry Christmas. I feel like I'm finally a grown-up. The people that are texting me. The thing with there was this big trend of people quitting YouTube about a year ago. People that had millions of subscribers, and I can't take it anymore. I can't take it. Bullcrap. What happens is, and this is what's going on with Megyn. They bring on people. I learned how to do this. Steve taught me how to do the business end. I learned from Steve too, and it's different than what he was doing, but I learned the business. When I was talking to Richie earlier, I could hire somebody to make my thumbnails. I learned if you look at my thumbnail today. I make those thumbnails, and it was not easy for me to learn how to. I'm not a graphic designer, but I had to learn how to do it. I could hire somebody to do my thumbnails. I could hire somebody to edit my podcast. I edit my podcast myself. All the commercials that you hear, I write.
Yep.
I write them. I record them. I edit them. All the ones on the radio, all the ones on my podcast here, and everything else. I could hire people to help me with some of these things. I could hire somebody to help me with. Helping me with my emails or my DMs or helping me taking business calls. I do it all because what happened with these YouTubers is what's going on with Megyn Kelly. They start hiring people, and all of a sudden their great profitable business is not that profitable anymore. And I think a lot of these people that ended their YouTube channels ended it so that they could fire everybody without having to pay them unemployment. And other benefits, and
what you've just said, Brian. Not to keep your thought, but what you've just said makes the things that you were saying just recently here in our conversation make a lot more sense.
Yeah.
From what you've just said, as far as why you are the way and what they've done. People do get over their skis a little bit too far, and then they don't realize that they don't realize that light at the end of the tunnel. It's actually a train and fire. No, I can see that. I can see
like
people
Dan,
make,
I give you Dan Bongino with his not now, but when he started doing his podcast and radio show, he I can't remember what the fast food restaurant was, but he bought a closed down fast food restaurant and renovated it into a TV studio and podcast studio, and that cost millions of dollars. I've seen it, and it's crazy. I don't know if he brought people from Fox News to do it. He could have done it for just a little bit of money, but a lot of it's ego, or they don't know how to do it.
When he first started out, I'll tell you, I listened to him when he first started out, and there was no video, nothing. It was just him, his the caveman. I listened to him for like 4 or 5 years. In fact, it was after I stopped listening to him that I started looking. Because I thought, I wanted to watch him grow because I thought he was going to be really good. And he was the federal agent who knew all the processes, the Woods procedure, and all the stuff that was really, really important to know the fine details of investigating what the hell was going on in our federal government. As far as somebody like me goes, I want to listen to somebody who's been there and done that.
Yeah.
So he knew all the procedures and all the things that were going wrong. But he only had I was listening to him when he had he might have had like 3, 4, 500 people. Nothing.
Yep.
And then the show, it grew and grew and grew. And, maybe he did get over his skis, which whether he did or he didn't, I just thought that he, you know what, I've lost my train of thought.
Well, no,
sorry.
so
go
what's
back to
happened with Megyn Kelly, see, this is what happened with Bongino. Bongino was doing Fox, and then he went off on his own with when his podcast blew up, and he was doing, he had a TV, and he built that studio, that cost millions of dollars.
Yep.
Because he doesn't know any different because he comes from TV. I've talked a bunch of times, Hollywood, California, the primary production business that's going on out there is podcast out of Hollywood, and all the sound stages on the lots are throughout Hollywood. And if you, that's not just celebrities, but like Call Me Daddy. And I've seen some of the outtakes from
Call Me Daddy.
Yeah,
crazy stuff.
Yeah. And that plays in the Megyn, which I'll tell you in a minute. These podcasts that they're doing out of Hollywood that you don't know about, that are Hollywood, they're all these big podcasts are all backed by big companies, mostly Hollywood companies. They even start the podcast when they're filming, because they don't do them live like I do and take calls, with the that thing that they do when they make movies, like that clicker thing.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about? They start the podcast.
Yes.
They put that in front of the host. I've seen this happen many times. So when somebody like Megyn Kelly, who comes from Fox News or NBC, which is where she was at before, they bring the television experience to what they're doing. With that comes hair, makeup,
a large capital expenditure. It comes, they're working on a 10x or 100 capex when they really don't need the 10 or the 100.
I started in I was working at AM radio stations that had no money, so I know. So while you say how could she be broke, no,
I got you now. I got you thinking at least. I understand your thinking.
Yeah.
Maybe 50. I'll meet you halfway there. At least I completely understand now why you have this thought process, and it's very, very believable, and it can definitely happen to people because you end up. I look at the music business. I remember my guys wanted to buy an SDL or an SL. I can't remember the name. I think it's an SDL board, SLD. It's like $1 million piece of equipment, and I'm a money manager, and I was reading about all the different technologies, and this is going back years.
Yeah.
But you were going from the digital, the magnetic tape, 2-inch, 3-inch, as far as recording studios go.
Yeah.
Everything was going. Pro Tools was the new thing.
Yeah.
And you could pick up a Pro Tools. You could $1 million for that board. I was like, no way, we're not buying a brand new board, which. It's
exactly.
As soon as we buy it, it's not worth $1 million. It might be worth half of that, and that's insane. If you want a board, find one that's used, and I'll consider it. And they found one for 400 G's. I'm like, okay. So I looked at that as like I saved $600,000. But I understand what you're saying though. These people get out there, like you had a call the other day, Brian, and I was the guy that called in. Was an arrogant little press.
You have to be more specific than
about
that.
AI. Well, yes. No, the AI. He's talking about artificial intelligence. He talked about CapEx spending and why is CapEx spending this when we're a spending economy with this and that. I'm like, the guy was like my cousin Vinny, the two youths with this question.
Yeah.
It's the one has nothing to do with the other. The reason why CapEx is so big is because we have the best freaking president in the world. Because everybody wants to come here and invest. CapEx is capital investment, and you get to write it off in year one. Consumer spending was actually Black Friday was up like 4%.
And part of it is part of why the economy is doing well is because a lot of the economy is based on future expectations and
perception. Correct.
Hold on, let me answer more of these calls. See, these hour-long conversations can't happen on the radio.
Yes, they cannot.
I'd be in trouble.
Great.
But what were we saying about the future expectations? There's strong confidence in the future of America now, okay? And that's why one of the main reasons the economy is doing so well is because there's a future expectation, even beyond Trump's second term here, of stability for business in this country, because the country's changed and has been woken up. This is what it was like in the post-war era, the Mad Men era.
If you build it, they will come. All these people that are spending all their money here building all these things, they are going to create jobs, and all those people that are making money. Like this kid said the other day, we're based on consumer spending. All those people that are making money are going to be spending money. You can think of it like you think of a pond or a lake that's just glass still. It's still. You see reflection everywhere. Donald Trump is the big boulder of economic, bam, in the middle of that pond, and the ripples are going everywhere, and that's what is happening to our country.
In fact,
we're going to have economic growth for years.
When President Trump, when he first came down the escalator and he said, "Make America Great Again," it means a lot of different things, but mainly, and he mentioned this in the early days of the first campaign, but what he meant more than anything is what's going on right now economically, right? He wanted a post-war economic boom that we had in the United States. Why isn't it that way every day and every year and every decade? That's the main thing he was talking about, because once you have an economic boom, which we're in the beginning stages of right now, everything else comes together until the liberals screw it up.
Yeah, absolutely. No, economic growth is, you can lead the horse to water, so to speak, but we've got to, all the stuff that he's doing now, it's just, I know what's going to happen. I already see it. I see so many. And
he's also phasing out the military-industrial complex as the main. He's building battleships and such. We're not stopping manufacturing of munitions, but we got crypto, we got AI, we got auto manufacturers coming back. He's making the military-industrial complex, which causes all these damn wars we've been in that are for nothing for 75 years. He's making their influence a little less of the economy than it's been, which will keep us.
And that's very important, and to have the political strength, to have it's good. Like I heard you said a couple of things about the politics. You talked about the post office and the military on a Sunday show. Mm-hmm. I think it was before Thanksgiving, and the Wokies. It was about Perry's. It was about the court martial, and on the panel they might have a Wokey. We might not. Hegseth done a good job purging everybody, but there's still a few Wokies in there.
Yep.
And I'm like, the military-industrial complex, Trump is taking care of that to a certain extent. They're pretty damn powerful, but he's doing that, but he's also doing that in a lot of subtle ways. And it's going to take a while. I can remember you talking about, and I agree with you completely. It's that it's going to take some election cycles. Now, I don't know if it's going to take a couple election cycles or it's going to take 10 or 20. In other words, it might be 4 years. It might be 40 years. There's just a lot of bad people in the federal government.
Well,
we have a lot of good, great people.
When Eisenhower said, "Beware the military-industrial complex," that was in his farewell speech when he was leaving the White House, and it might have been his last day, his last full day. I don't know when that was, but if you go back and watch that, I haven't watched it in a couple of years, but he gives the percentage of the American economy that was based on the military at the time. I can't remember. It's very high. And he said, this is the first time in American history where the economy had such an investment in war. He said prior to World War II, we didn't have a big military budget, and we just built up in time of war. All right, we need tanks, we need cannons. And now, so you got to feed that. So that's when he said, beware the military-industrial complex. So that's what the monster has to be fed. And I don't know what percentage of the American economy that the military-industrial complex was, around the 9/11 era with Bush and Cheney and their crimes and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But President Trump, it's not that we may be spending more money on the military, but a smaller amount of the economic machine of the country, of the economy, will be that because of these other industries. You understand what I mean?
That's absolutely that's absolutely true. It is. Our economy. It's going to be. People have not seen stuff like this. It's hard we had 4.3% GDP, in the quarter. Year over year, 4.1%. On Black Friday, consumer sales up. You think back to 2022, here in Massachusetts, we had like $5 gas. Now it's down to like, below $3. If you save $2, it depends on, if you got a 20-gallon tank and you're saving $2 and you fill up once a week, that's like you save, it's like $2,000 a year. It's $2,000 in your pocket now just on gas. Now that's only if you only go through 20 gallons of gas, a week. Maybe people fill up twice. If you fill up twice, you've got like $4,000+ dollars.
Yes.
I mean, or more in your pocket, which you can. It just creates this snowball effect where people have more money to pay down debt.
And let me explain it another way.
But to also shop.
I saw somebody in the chat said that didn't make any sense what I said. How can you spend more money but when you hear me talk to Jupiter Joe Thomas, I always talk to him about having multiple income streams. And my father-in-law, he's very successful, okay? And he told me long ago, he says, Brian, you need to have 3, and this is how he lived his life. He's retired now. You need to have at minimum 3 income sources, okay? And the reason in your personal life, because if one business is slow, the other 2 will be okay. You'll be fine. You have nothing to worry about. And the more income sources you have, the better off. Well, the same goes for the United States economy, right? With AI, with all these auto manufacturers, all these other big money businesses he's bringing into the country. The country is having all these massive revenue streams. The revenue stream from the military-industrial complex doesn't have as much juice with the Congress. He's dethroning the health insurance companies and the pharmaceuticals by reducing prices. Okay?
Prices.
So they're not going to have
savings there, big.
And they're going to lose juice with the Congress. So these other industries, they'll have lobby groups too. The auto industry will be able to say, we're not going to go to war with Russia. We're selling too many cars. What are you doing? Don't listen to that company that makes the tanks. They're trying, come on. You understand what I mean? That's what Trump's doing. And people
peace
are...
through strength.
Exactly.
Strength builds the peace.
And
peace builds more consumer, more love, more buying, more money,
and
more
these Trump
more
haters
peace on earth.
are too stupid to understand what Trump's doing. Now, I'll end with you on this because we've been talking like with Richie like an hour. What I forgot what I was saying earlier.
Yes.
I've had a lot of calls on this Christmas morning. Very good calls, great conversation. Not one liberal is called. Not one liberal is called today. What the heck? What's that about?
Well, you know what, Brian? Peace on earth is American first. I said that
they can't handle peace on earth.
Peace on earth is American first. Peace on earth is good for the world, and it's better for us. Let's just all have a peaceful, lovely day. Thank you very much,
take
Brian.
care. All right, take care. And these are good conversations. I don't mind these. What do you guys think of this? These extended conversations I've been having. If you'd like to call in, the number's pinned in the live chat. I'm going to take a quick break. We'll come back. I'll go a little longer. It's 888-465-2631. 888-465-2631. It's the Brian Craig Show. We are live on this MAGA Christmas morning. We'll be right back. All right, if you're on hold, stand by. And by the way, guys, I know it's Christmas Day. Please go to mypillow.com. Use my promo code Kane at checkout, K-A-N-E. I've been telling you guys, the early show I've been doing, I've been starting about quarter after, 20 after 5, 5:30-ish each morning, during the week. That's all sponsored by Mike Lindell and MyPillow. And that support is based on the response with the promo code Kane at checkout, K-A-N-E. So please go to mypillow.com and use the promo code Kane at checkout. And you can use my promo code Kane, K-A-N-E, on all the specials at mypillow.com. If you're on hold, stand by. I want to mention this. Hooters is in the news, and Hooters pinpoints what went wrong as a post-bankruptcy revival ramps up. Do you know why why do you guys think Hooters went into bankruptcy and had problems, and now there's a revival? You know why? It's because Trump is back, and all this gender crap is gone. Not just trans, all of it. All these different genders, I don't even understand. What's cisgender? All these things. And the young men that would go to Hooters, they don't even know what gender they are or sexuality they are during the autopin years, so they're not interested in Hooters. Okay? They don't even know what they're interested in. Or if they have an interest, they're told that something's wrong with them. They shouldn't feel that way about women who look like that. So in President Trump's second term, normalcy, heterosexuality is back, and Hooters recognizes that, and they're not going to say that, but I'm saying it. So heterosexuals are back, and there'll probably be a baby boom too. But that's why Hooters is back, and that's what else could it be, right? When they went bankrupt, I told you that's why they went bankrupt. I mean, All right, let's go. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? All right, hold on. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Yeah, I'm Jamie from California.
Hey, Jamie.
I'm a trans woman.
Okay.
And I wanted to give you the opportunity to... I was going to answer your questions. You said you didn't know what cisgender was. Do you have any questions about gender? I'd be willing to educate you.
No. How old are you?
Oh, okay.
How old are you?
39.
I've known transgendered people as longer than you've been alive, Certainly as long as. I've known transgender people before you did. No. Because of the business I'm in. No, I have no questions about gender from you. I'm 54 years old. I've been married 29 years. I have a daughter who's going to be 27 on her next birthday. I know all about the birds and the bees. I don't need...
So then why are you bashing trans people on your radio show?
I'm not bashing trans people. What did I say that was the
Merry
bashing?
Christmas.
No, what did I say that was the bashing?
Happy holidays.
Hold on. No. You said, what did I say that is the trashing of trans people?
Scapegoating them because
no,
you
what did
lost
I say?
Hooters for a couple years?
Tell me what I said that was trashing trans people.
You insinuated that trans people are the reason that Hooters failed.
No, I didn't say trans people.
And that because Donald Trump is now the president.
Why do guys go to Hooters?
Well, it's certainly not for the food.
Why do guys go to Hooters?
Because they want to look at girls in short shorts.
They go to Hooters because the girls have humongous Hooters, and their shorts are about 3 or 4 sizes too small, and they're hot. And it's like
exactly.
Okay. So what I was talking about was in the last few years during the Autopin administration of Joe Biden, the age group of guys that goes to Hooters, okay, is between the ages of primarily 18 until whatever age they get married, right? Because when you get married, your wife doesn't want you going to Hooters. It's like going to a strip club, going to Hooters, right? Okay. So the primary customer of Hooters are horny young men that want to have sex with these girls because they're hot. So they go to Hooters and they get the Hooters next to them while they're ordering and talking and stuff. Okay, that's Hooters. So
Fair enough.
Okay, so we agree on that. So in the last few years, there's always been trans people and gay people. And I had a conversation with a lady earlier in the program. You may have missed it. President Trump is not against gay rights. I'm not against gay rights, okay? Nobody cares anymore. But over the last few years, when these multi-gender things happened, the thing I said about cisgender, that was called sarcasm. I was being sarcastic. All these different genders started coming up. You know, some genders where people can be a gender today and then later in the day they're another gender. You know what I mean? There are like 60 different genders.
That's not accurate. That's a misrepresentation by the ultra right wing of our country.
I just saw
that's not a thing.
Okay, I just saw a story today. I don't know if I tweeted it about Khloe Kardashian announcing that she's some gender I never heard of. Let me see if I tweet. And so what I'm telling you is the demographic. I'll look for that in a minute. But the demographic of the customer of Hooters, horny young guys who like girls with tight shorts that are too small, with hot bodies and huge Hooters. A huge chunk of them, they're not living a heterosexual lifestyle anymore. They're one of these other genders or something. Like the Charlie Kirk assassin. Now
you're saying that Donald Trump is for gay rights, but Donald Trump is a Christian nationalist.
What is a Christian nationalist?
And is very much.
What is a Christian nationalist? What is a Christian nationalist?
A Christian nationalist is someone that wants a Christian state where Christianity becomes the basis of the laws of the land.
No. That may be what a Christian nationalist is, but the people that you guys on the left call Christian nationalist, you know, we're not Christian nationalists. We don't want to have a theocracy.
Yes, you are.
You can be a Christian.
Yes, you do.
No, we don't want a theocracy. President Trump's been married 3 times. Okay, been married 3 times.
That is precisely the problem. But he's still a Christian nationalist.
No.
He represents Christian nationalists.
Evangelical
movement
hold on a second
in
here.
this country.
The
evangelical movement in this country.
Hold on. You're implying. I want to have a serious conversation with you. Okay. You're implying that President Trump is homophobic, doesn't like gays?
Yes.
Okay. Then explain to me why Scott Bessent, the Treasury Secretary that's in charge of the whole economy, that he wants to make the head of the Fed that turned it down, is an openly gay man. And can you explain that? One of the most important people in his administration, openly gay man, Scott Bessent. Why would a homophobe do that?
Because Scott Besson is, according to Donald Trump, qualified for the position.
There's other qualified people.
And
no, hold on.
Let me answer your question.
Now, keep in mind, you're saying
Let me answer your
all
question.
right, finish. I'll let you finish.
Scott Besson will do what Donald Trump tells him to do, because that's what Donald Trump needs in order for his regime to be successful.
No, what you said makes no sense. When you say someone's a homophobe, and okay, that is the equivalent.
Okay.
That's an equivalent of when you call what you're implying with Donald Trump is that he hates gay people like a Ku Klux Klansman would hate black people. Someone that hates somebody like that would not put them in charge of the entire economy, which is his primary focus to be successful. He wouldn't do it. He'd find somebody that wasn't gay if he hated gays. It doesn't even make sense, what you said. It makes no sense.
I don't know.
Exactly. You don't know. You don't know. You don't know. Because what you said doesn't make sense. See, why you think you think it's unusual for me to talk to a trans person, which I was talking to trans people before you were trans. I've talked to a lot of trans people, but you haven't really talked to MAGA people. You've talked about MAGA people, but you've never talked with one.
My whole family is MAGA people.
Yeah, but you probably haven't had a real conversation because there's probably a lot of issues with your lifestyle.
My friend group, the majority of them are MAGA people.
Well, then how can Donald Trump and MAGA be homophobic if all your friends are MAGA and you're a transgendered man? Or are you? Are we
transgendered woman?
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I don't know. I can't see you. I can only hear your voice, and I can't see you.
Okay, so
you can see me, but I can't see you. I can only hear your voice. So if MAGA people are homophobic, why are all these MAGA people friends with you, a transgendered woman?
Because people are not demographics. People are individuals.
That's like the global warming people that say, well, wait a minute. It's cold. Yeah, you're talking about weather. We're talking about climate. What you said makes no sense. You agree during back to the Hooters thing. The primary customer for Hooters are horny young guys. Once they get married, the wives don't let them go to Hooters. Okay. You agree that in the last few years, that among that demographic, horny young guys, 18 to 30-ish, there's fewer of them because trans, gay, this gender, that gender. So the customer base for Hooters was taken away by all of that. And now heterosexualism is back and it's strong, and Hooters is back in business.
Okay, that right there, you're implying that there's a choice in sexuality, which isn't entirely accurate. For some people, sure, they can choose to be gay. They can choose to be bisexual, but the majority of gay people are born gay.
This is an interesting thing. Do you know that there are some young, horny guys that don't like to go to Hooters that are between 18 and 30? They're heterosexual.
Of course.
Okay. So, okay.
So
no, hold on.
Okay.
Let me ask you this question.
I'm with you.
So we agree that the customer base for Hooters are horny young guys, heterosexual, between 18 and 30. But some guys in that age group aren't interested in going to Hooters. Do you know why?
I go ahead and tell me.
They don't like big boobs. They like smaller boob women, and they're not into that. Or they like bigger girls, not skinny girls. So people have sexual preferences. Some guys like girls with big hooters. Some guys like girls that have small hooters. Some guys, there are white guys there are a white guy. A friend of mine that I've known since we were in high school. He's a white guy like me, MAGA guy. He's never dated or been with a white girl, all black girl. He likes black girls. Venus and Serena Williams, both married white guys. People have preferences. Heterosexual people have. There's a whole variety of sexual preferences. So with all this infinite diversity and infinite combinations, That's from Star Trek.
All right.
And heterosexual preferences. Why can't gay people have preferences too?
Well, they do. They have preferences.
Well, that means there's choice. That means that people can choose what they're into.
They have preferences between if they like black guys or black girls, or black guys or white guys or Mexican guys. Let's talk about Hooters, but let's talk about Hooters.
This is a great conversation for Christmas morning, isn't it? Have you ever heard a Christmas show like this?
I completely agree.
Is this what they're doing on morning show today? Has anyone ever heard a Christmas show to do this conversation?
My kid is still asleep, so I'm just waiting for her to wake up, and then we're gonna have. Huh?
When you say transgendered woman, you were born a man?
Yes.
So how did you adopt?
I have a kid.
Did you adopt?
I have a wife. No, I'm married. I'm married to a woman. I'm not gay in the sense that I'm interested in men. I'm interested in women. You wear women's clothes? Do you wear women's clothes? Yes. Yes.
Did you wear women's clothes during the period? Obviously not while you impregnated her, because you had to be at least partially naked. But were you a transgendered woman when you impregnated your wife?
Yes.
Oh my goodness. Okay.
Now let's dial it back to Hooters.
It's like Bruce Jenner. Is this Caitlyn Jenner?
Let's go back to Hooters and let's discuss another possibility.
No, hold on a
for
second.
what happens to Hooters.
Are you Caitlyn Jenner?
No, I'm not.
Okay. Because I'm a big fan.
Jamie from California.
Okay, I've met Caitlyn Jenner when he was Bruce. I'm a big fan.
That's great. That's great.
And by the way, Caitlyn Jenner is MAGA and supports Trump.
I know. She's an absolute hypocrite. Now let's go back to Hooters.
Yes.
Now, what was also going on over the last couple of years when Hooters was on the verge of failure? There was a massive increase in the cost of restaurants. I've worked in restaurants the majority of my life.
Oh my goodness.
And it's not just Hooters that was failing. Applebee's, Chili's, basically all
Let
of
me
the
tell
big
you.
chain
But when it comes to sex, guys don't
failing.
care. Guys don't care. No, Hooters, heterosexuality
they do care
was
because
on its
you
way
don't
out.
have enough money to feed yourself.
No, people
you don't have enough money to go and spend at a restaurant.
When
listen, just don't. The economy was fucked, and the economy is still fucked.
During the shutdowns, they didn't shut down the strip clubs. Strip clubs were booming. When Hooters is like a strip club. When it comes to
it's not.
Oh, please. Give me a break.
Oh,
it's like
please.
a strip club. You just agreed with me.
It's
Guys only go there for the hot
like
girls.
A strip club.
It's everything like a strip club.
That is conjecture, and that is your opinion.
You said earlier that people don't. You said they certainly. I said, why do people go to Hooters? You said certainly not the food. They go there for the girls.
They go for the women, but the strip club is completely different.
It's a sex business.
Than Hooters.
Hooters is a sex business. It's part of the sex industry. It's part of the sex industry.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is. It's a tease.
Oh my God, dude!
It's a tease, but it's a tease, but it's part of the sex industry. Anyway, we're digressing.
Yeah, you definitely sound like a Christian nationalist. You have a good day. Happy holidays.
Merry Christmas to you and yours. No, I'm glad you called. You should call me again. This is a good conversation. I'll red pill you. You'll be MAGA like Caitlyn Jenner by the time. You should call me again. We had a good conversation.
I'm a socialist. You have a great day.
He hung up. Too much truth. He hung up. Or I'm sorry, she hung up. What's your name? Where are you calling from? You're on the air. Once, twice. All right, you missed your chance. Oh, they were just picking up. You can call back. What I was talking about with that guy, a lot of the genders and the trans thing became a fad for a lot of people. Became a fad, like breakdancing and parachute pants, okay? And the fad is over. That's it. The fad's over, and things are getting back to normal. That's all. And that's heterosexuality is back, and that's why Hooters is back. If you're new to my channel, welcome. Make sure that you subscribe. And if you're already subscribed, make sure you're subscribed, guys, and click the notification bell. I live stream every day. I'm always taking live calls, totally screenless and unvetted. And those of you that are new, I'm sure you can tell that all opinions are welcome on the program. And I think I had a very good conversation with that guy, don't you? I think it was a great conversation. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
This Miles Chattanooga. Heterosexual is bad, baby. It's back in the chat town.
Okay, all right. No. And this is a Christmas show unlike I expected. I really did not expect to have a Christmas show go quite this direction. But I think that was a very productive conversation with that guy. And I'm glad he called. And you know, one of the reasons I like talking with liberals, like what I said to that caller, if this is the same guy, hold on here. Yeah, you're on the air.
Oh, hey.
Yeah. All right.
Sorry about that.
No. I was done. We moved on. That was the end of the conversation. You can call another day. I didn't say call right back, but call another day. The rest of you on hold, stand by. See, what I said to that caller, the transgendered woman from California, did you hear what I said to him? I said, you know, when he called in at the beginning of the call, he's like, I'm a transgendered woman. Do you have any questions for me? And I said, no, because no. And I told him during the conversation, I said, while I've talked to transgendered people many times over the years, you haven't really talked to a MAGA person. You've talked about us. And a lot of times, most people that are liberal, okay, most people that are liberal are only liberal because they have this stereotype of what conservatives are, none of which is reality. Okay? And when when they talk to us, they start to realize that. That's why he hung up. But the more you talk to people like that and have a real conversation, I thought that was a great conversation. I'm not going to take his call again now because we played out the conversation. I'm going to do it over. He can call me on another day. If he wouldn't have hung up, I'd probably still be talking to him. But, and I hope he calls me back on another day. I think I made him aware of some things that he'd never considered. You know, this thing of Christian nationalism, there is no Christian nationalism. That's something that the left have made up, okay? And what they've done, this is part of their act that got Charlie Kirk assassinated. Christian nationalist, right? Which is what he said Trump is, and they say this Christian nationalism. When they say nationalism, what they mean is National Social, we're Nazis. That's a Nazi reference, and they hate Christians. So, you know, those are two negatives they put together. They're trying to call us Christian Nazis. Christian nationalism does not exist. And I don't mean it doesn't exist like J. Edgar Hoover said the mafia didn't exist when he was FBI director. It is a talking point myth created by the left that does not exist. Now, with that being said, most conservatives are Christian, but and of course Christians, you know, that are conservative love this country, the United States, but Christian nationalism does not exist. It's not a movement. And by the way, even if it did, I don't know that it would be a bad thing. They're just trying to label the MAGA movement a Nazi movement. National Socialism is the Nazis, right? So they're trying to say Christian nationalism. National Socialism, Christian nationalism. Do you see what they're doing? So no, it doesn't exist. But most liberals, they do think it exists. Why? Because Rachel Maddow tells them so. That's it. Well, listen, guys, thanks for joining me on this MAGA Merry Christmas, our first Christmas of Trump's second term. He was president-elect last Christmas. This is our first Christmas with him back in the big chair in the Oval Office. And if you're new, do please subscribe. And again, if you're already subscribed, please check and make sure you are. And I'll be back, of course, on the radio tomorrow. My name's Brian Craig. This is where MAGA comes to talk. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. I will talk to you next time.